Well, it's BaseTradeTV.
Go to bed, Ashley. It's like way too early and late for you to be still awake. Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to this week's Olimoleague. It's Rifkin, it's Zombie Grub, and it's some Korean StarCraft 2. Now, I'm gonna do the typical, hey, how you doing, Zombie Grub? But guys, my ears aren't so good. They're a bit plugged today, so I think I've got her at a good volume. But if she's too low or too loud, please do let us know, as we are rocking, as it says right there in the stream, 2 minutes of delay. So I'll hopefully have this adjusted by the time we're in the first game. But hey, Zombie Grab, how you doing now?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm getting better. I had such a bad time last night, though. The phlegminess of me being sick has disappeared, and now it's been replaced by this really dry cough, which is worse, apparently. I didn't think it would be. Can I just stop being sick? That'd be great. Thank you. And now everyone's like, by the way, get your flu shots for TwitchCon. And I'm like, great. Where do I even do that? Am I good because I just finished being sick? This is like a really long flu shot.
I don't think that's how that works.
That's not how the immune system works? Yeah, good luck convincing me of that.
Okay. Sure.
I bet you also thought the moon landing was real too.
Yeah.
And from the moon landing, you could see the round Earth. Right. Okay, Zombie Grub. I have no time for your conspiracy theories this morning. We've got some StarCraft we gotta do.
Yeah. Anyways. The maps are on the bracket, so can't even make a map. Can't even choose anything.
Awesome. And for some reason, Twitch chat has come in double. Let's go ahead and lose one of those. We don't need both of them. All right. So, there's a lot of really tasty signups. The question is how many people actually checked in. As we saw Rogue, Stats, Tasia, just to name a few.
Yeah, I mean, a decent amount checked in. Most of the first round matches aren't the greatest. Actually, really don't know what to pick up here.
Well, whilst you look and navigate, I want to give a big thank you to T-Pagan, just now subbing for 2 months, but also the Pigeon Knight 7 with a brand new sub to open this stream. Certainly feels good. We also had Lee Omen come in for 54 months with a tier 3, so you know his dick is extra big. Thank you, Lee Omen. So I'm gonna assume means we also got some mods in chat this morning, which will be nice because, folks, I believe, and if I'm saying this correctly and not cringingly, hello to the front page of Twitch. Hello, all of you out there who did not choose to watch BaseTradeTV today, but had thrust upon you via the front page. I hope you will come and check us out. But yeah, so we got some mods in chat, which will be nice. Make things a little less headachy. A lot of barcodes, though. A lot of barcodes.
Yeah, the tournament use rule states no barcodes. This is really... Huh. I seriously don't know who to choose. Crank has a lobby, so I might just join that.
Sure.
Because it's not just choosing. Because there's actually not going to be any like amazing matches until 2 more series.
Well, actually, that's what's kind of beautiful about this, though. Yeah, so we got kind of some one-sided, we'll call them zingers, probably happening here in the first round. But that's because there's so many people signed up today. There is a round of 32 bracket that is mostly filled out too, including a bunch of people seeded to the round of 16. So some notable names there in the round of 16 that we'll be waiting for the matches to go into are people like Rogue and Creator and Bunny and Solar and Alive and Stats. Then, of course, you got your typicals, you got your Gumihos and whatnot too. But I think we're going to have a couple extra games today, which would be nice. But as Zombie Grub said, it's probably not going to be until like the next round or so until we get like the super sick matches. The ones that make you go, oh my god, is this GSL? And we'll be like, GS what now? This is the Olimoleague. Thank you very much.
It's exactly what we'll be like.
I didn't hear that last letter. I didn't catch that. GS what now?
I toured Tasia's lobby, but Tasia I mean, he's been looking for his opponent.
Well, worst case scenario, people get advanced in the next 10 minutes or so, and we can rock and roll with whatever games are available. But yeah, this first round, maybe it'll take a moment to get started. Maybe his opponent will show up in the next second. I didn't work.
Tried though.
I did.
The other matter is that people just like aren't on, or there's like 2 barcodes. I don't know who they are. I guess there's also that problem. But like, we could have done DH versus random user in a stats into a live versus stats. Because I actually don't know if Tasia's bracket isn't even that great. But
well, I mean,
no
you
one's
steer
here.
this ship. You've got the wheel of this car. Happy to follow wherever you want us to take it and go.
There's no analogy I can fit this situation into with a car or a ship. It's like there's no destination.
Okay.
I really can't think of an analogy.
What if we are on the open road with no destination in mind? We're just on a road trip, Samago. And we're looking for the next road stop because I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay, yeah, and then there's just no road. Like every single road stop we get to is like broken down or abandoned or
run by the KKK, and we don't want to go there. Yeah, exactly. Tons of weird things go.
Exactly. That's the analogy you can go with, because I just for life of me cannot see 2 people that are facing each other in the chat channel.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea here onto the in-game screen. There's a lot of people just looking, saying invite me, and then no invites going out, and it's just a little bit of limbo land at the moment, and that's gonna happen once in a while with an early bracket. But once the brackets get going and we assign those first round walkovers because people no-showed, it should be some pretty smooth sailing, I think. But it's always just a little awkward at the start. We could just go play some marbles. But the problem is with the 2-minute stream delay, that's not really an option. So, kind of stuck just waiting for a little bit. Also, while we are waiting, thank you for joining us, StarCraft fans. But again, for the new people who aren't familiar with the channel, or you are just piqued by curiosity from the front page, we cover a lot of StarCraft 2 here on BaseTradeTV. It's not going to be your typical, I'm watching a WCS with super professional broadcasters. We've built this channel on just being some people who enjoy StarCraft, watching with other people who enjoy StarCraft. But I don't mind trying to enlighten and maybe entice new people into the game. So if you guys have questions or you don't understand references or things like that, please, by all means, ask them in Twitch chat. We read Twitch chat all the time while we're casting. Other people in Twitch chat may be able to answer your questions for you. So, I mean, yeah, I'm basically just saying get in Twitch chat so you can have some chat activity, and my numbers look good. But realistically, what I'm saying is if you'd like to know more or you're curious, don't be shy to ask. Very happy to answer.
Totally. Thought we had a game just about ready, and then barcode number 3, or number 2, or number 1. Depends on how you want to order them, really. Did not join the lobby. But we're close to the walkover point. So hopefully that happens soon.
Yeah. Well, worst case scenario takes a minute. Looks like we're getting invites, though, to somebody into this game. So we might actually have Tasia versus somebody here soon. Tasia is streaming his point of view, as someone's pointed out. He's not using a stream delay like us. So while I would certainly encourage you guys to check out Tasia's stream, just please don't bring spoilers back to this channel. You'll be banned without mercy. Also, for those who keep catching me just basically embarrass myself here on camera, like why do I even have a webcam? I spend more of my time muted coughing than I do speaking. I am still sick. Things are taking way too long to get better, and yes, I'm drinking my fluids and all that stuff you're supposed to do, lots of sleep, but yeah, if you hear me awkwardly go silent, guys, just because I've hit the mute button. Anyways, blue shift, let's get in a game! Hello, it's a TVT on the Korean server. I never would have guessed. Welcome to the Olimoleague, everybody. Spawning here in the top right to kick off the first game of the day. We've got the blue Terran, it's Tasia.
The bottom left as the red Terran. It says his clan is Lover 1. And his sign-up name on the bracket is Leo Lover.
This just sounds like the first in a string of like sex robots or something, right? Like,
I mean,
or
yeah,
like a really weird parody of like Star Wars. You know, it's like Red 5 standing by, Lover 1 checking in, Lover 2 standing by.
But it's Leo Lover, not Lever. Are you trying to say lover? Is this an accent thing?
Isn't that what it is in game? Lover?
Lover.
Yeah.
To me, it sounds like you're saying lever.
Lever or lever. Either way, she's a bitch.
Is this a Canadian thing? Is this an American thing? Or is it like a Russian?
I don't know. I'm not noticing it, so maybe it's a Canadian thing.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay, well, it's like sorry and sorry.
Lover.
Anyways, so I'm gonna guess this guy isn't Korean nor English speaking, so American or Canadian, whatever, because he chose to tell Tasia that he loved him in broken English. So I'm like, well, if he was Korean, why don't you just say that in Korean? And it's very possible that he's like Taiwanese or Chinese. They sign up sometimes for Olimoleague, although today
well, I actually think there might be a few more Chinese people than normal in the bracket, or Taiwanese or whatever, because I see names like Li Fang and others. And while the actual official Li Fang organization or whatever with that team was like kind of shady dealings or whatever, one thing I did learn from it was like that's the name of a Chinese hero from like forever ago, like did something for their country. So
Dynasty Warriors, man, you gotta play that shit and learn your Chinese.
Sure.
Warriors.
My point of this is, though, seeing several names like that in the bracket tell me there's probably a few Chinese players today.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like, we don't know a lot of the, I guess, the names that you guys don't know, people who have watched StarCraft a lot, we also don't know, I think, is what's going on here. Like, the Fast Ethernet. He joins up for Ballistics, too. I don't know who he is. But, yeah, LeFang and this guy are the ones I have suspicion / confirmation that they're, well, not Korean anyways, but regardless.
High ground is a pretty big deal in these engagements, and that worked out well as it did net Lover a Reaper kill. Didn't lose either of his, but very close to losing one.
I feel so uncomfortable calling him Lover.
Can you not project your intimacy issues in front of thousands of people?
I can't not do it.
Okay, just call him Over. And pretend that L is part of, like,
L over.
Yeah, like... Or, no, I just mean over, because, like, the L looks like it's part of the little triangle bracket.
That's it, I guess. It's okay. I'll get over it.
It's not a pyramid, though.
No, it's not. Thank you! It's not a pyramid.
Like you would in Microbe for the 2 months. It's never a pyramid. We got double Cyclones coming out of Tasia to follow this up. His first attack was a little bit weak, but I mean, it's TVT and you don't have to be a top tier Korean Grandmaster to have high ground Cyclone advantage in the early game. I think one thing we're going to look at here for the red player Zombie Grub is how is macros going to hold up. A lot of TVT is pretty basic that even I could play it to a point, but then it really starts splitting up once things like the starport or the second barracks or second factory in some cases come into play.
Yeah. Well, that's where we're going to see the big difference between pro and what could be a Korean GM. I didn't look at the league, and we don't know they're not playing on their main account. So for now, it's actually it's a good build. Now it's a huge supply block, but that's partially because the supply depot went down to the Cyclones. As Tasia's finding all types of tiny things to take advantages of. I mean, he's getting a faster third CC while he applies what is actually very light pressure, but something that Lover has to take very seriously. And Tasia has had some pretty good TVT, It's probably, I mean, I don't know those for sure, and he might even say differently if because he streams a lot. He's big streaming right now, but it kind of feels like TVT might be one of his best matchups. That's the word right now, and I think there could be a lot of reasons for that, but he's had some pretty good ones that we got to see.
The way you say lover makes me really think of like Zap Brannigan.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is an American Canadian thing, but
like specifically like the way he says velour, lover, velour.
Say so.
Well, this is pretty easy for him to have that sky control. The Vikings add to this. A Liberator sets up on the other side of the map, but a quick pull out of Tasia is a very nice response. Those Vikings look beefy. God damn.
They actually look like like action figures. Like you would turn them on that hinge on the back.
How did StarCraft never make really badass action figures? Honestly, like a transforming Viking.
Well, I actually don't know the answer to that, because even like in 2010, like you think that would be the first thing they would have created. But I mean, maybe they thought their player base was too old. There we go.
Yeah, well, they learned several years later the older nerds are the ones with money to spend on toys like a Viking Transformer, but...
Yeah, but I do wonder...
Oh, go on.
I wonder how many old, like, because I wouldn't want I hate action figures that are, like, superposable, because I don't think they look very good. Like, I want a statue as an older person myself. As an older nerd.
Well, a couple of very interesting things happened, guys. The Liberator didn't do that much, but it did force a reaction out of Tasia that whether it was the distraction or just not bringing those new Vikings to the front lines, Tasia actually lost the attack pretty badly. He's not in a bad spot, though. I think the 3rd CC and the SCVs are more than enough power, so he can afford the losses, but that fight did not go for Tasia the way he wanted it to.
I actually thought it was... I mean, it's not perfect. Perfect is it's still alive and doing damage because it was an abusive position. But for what it was, I thought it went pretty darn well. He's only down in resources by 300. That's really not a lot in TVT in general, I think. And then just considering how much he had behind this, because the first thing you want to pay attention to when they lose an attack like that is, did their army supply dip tremendously? And it's really not. It didn't.
Oh.
I mean, momentarily did, but it's back up.
I learned something very awkward while you were gone, and I had to do the Sunday cast. Apparently, I'm no longer allowed to say tremendous on stream because people have deemed that a Trump word. Is that a thing?
What?
I'm asking you because you're American. I don't actually know about this.
I mean, it's not a Trump thing. Like, he does say it because he doesn't know any other, like, adjectives, but...
By the way, chat, this is not a politics thing. I am Canadian, for those who don't know, and I was really curious why I was being ragged on or possibly trolled every time I said tremendous.
And how many people did it after one guy did it?
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, like I do that thing where I point it out and then everyone bandwagons if they didn't care about it before. God. So I probably made it worse than it was, but it was enough to make me go, wait, is this real? Is this a thing? Like,
I've never heard that. I mean, if you also spoke like Trump, if you used that word in a really dumb sentence and then kept repeating yourself over and over again, like you had dementia, then yes, that's a Trump thing. But just the word itself, that's stupid.
Really happy Tasia had those Vikings sitting there, by the way. Completely drives off the attack to the top side. His attack to the south, combined with the sensor tower here, also lets him know everything's pretty much A-okay and safe. Really like the Marine he's had this out. I was going to point this out earlier, but when we got off topic, just like little bits of scouting information here and there so they can see what's coming before it's too late. Allow himself to position where he needs to be. And like, if we're going to be honest, guys, we know like a lot of times retirement in StarCraft 2 doesn't always mean what it means. But watching players like Parting and a few others come back to the game, nice little pickup micro, by the way, they don't usually come back in full form. What I am liking is the 2 times I've seen Tasia so far, he's actually, you wouldn't tell he's been gone. He's doing a lot of the same things you need to do. He's pretty solid with his macro. Like, I wouldn't know Tasia retired if you didn't tell me.
Right. And then that one crank team link that I did solo, and then like Maynard joined, that's right. But anyways, like he was obviously the best out of the 3 kind of comeback retirees.
That Dark Sioux game, I can't. Like,
oh, yeah,
I watched that. It was, what the fuck?
But like a fantasy Parting and Tasia, Tasia was almost always carrying them.
Oh, but I like this too. Goes in to focus the tank. His things are a little bit late, but the Marines went out through power numbers alone. That's where that macro comes into play. This is that third CC really shining through, because while Lover down here did eventually get his, I mean, when it comes to the economy, Teja's had so much more for so much longer.
It's also just really nice army splitting, I guess. Yeah, like, Tasia has so many tanks back at his third base. That's where Lover's other army was, that he's now pulled back here to defend. And if he had to make that split-second decision, do I try and break 3 tanks and a couple of Vikings, or do I come back and defend? And he chose to come back and defend, which is probably the better option. But he's not truly defending this. He's barely surviving this, but down 60 supply. He's about to be broken with his tanks on siege.
That Raven's also full on energy. That's either 4 interference matrices or a bunch of anti-armor missiles. Either way, power is in Tasia's court. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, there we go. Well, his tanks have to be on siege because they just got the interference matrix, and the Marines are all out of position. The Lover was trying to do the same thing that Tasia did, kind of, like pull away and hope the tanks cover his third. Gonna work.
GG's. Game 1 in the best of 3 goes to Tasia. Tasia claps in the chat, guys. Ace TC. I don't know if we're in a situation where Tasia is going to be like full-fledged amazing Korean again for 2019. And I'm not sure what sparked his decision to come back and play, but I am happy to see him some more. For me, I was never actually on the super Tasia hype train. Liked him, respected him, he's a great player. But I feel like seeing all the hype for him coming back, I want to be on the Tasia hype train. I want to see him do really well next year and like be like, yes, Tasia.
Yeah, I was never really on the hype train either. And I think we already talked about this, but like he had a mentality that was fine. It just wasn't like something that I was like really in love with. Like I was like with Jaedong, and I'd always cheer for Jaedong. But you can't deny that he's just like a super good player, and he doesn't just have like, he's not like innovation good where he's just like blanket good and maybe comes out with a couple of new builds. So I can see why people aren't like huge fans of innovation. He actually has like really cool stylistic plays sometimes. Like that stupid Marine pickup that was totally unnecessary, but you gave bonus points for it.
Yeah, puts a smile on my face. Actually, what's kind of funny is for me, back when Tasia was still around, a big thing of Tasia was he was part of the faceless Korean overlord menace. Like, and I was always on the Fear Dragon style of cheering for the foreigners, hoping to watch them take on these gods. And you know, God, it goes so far back. Like, you got Sho before he quit StarCraft 2 at a DreamHack. I remember him going like 1-1 versus Tasia, thinking like, holy shit, this is the most hype thing I've ever cast in my life. Which, by the way, I would never want to go back and find those VODs for, because yikes, that was so long ago. But it's cool because like I'm in a completely different mindset now with Tasia. Like I'm actually super pro-Korean, whereas back then I was not. Not to say it was anti-Korean, but anyways, we're getting in a fracture for game 2. Small map. See you guys soon. All right, folks, we continue on through the best of 3. To the bottom right, we got a barcode. His clan tag says Lover, so that's what I assume his name is. It's the Red Terran Lover 1.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is Tasia.
I realized Tasia, you know how you could tell where players, like what era of StarCraft 2 they were from?
How?
The random caps. Because look at every new face we've seen for the last like 2 years. Raynor, Clem, etc. They all just have regular names with regular capitalization. But think about Tasia, Showtime, like, and everybody from back in the day, even Sue, like, they've got the random caps.
Interesting. That's an interesting observation. We should get someone to like really like get the numbers on this, man. See if it's true.
I love the
true.
to me, I love the evolution in names, right? Because I think back to Brood War and I'm thinking like XXX SSJ, like, and it's like not even the same X. It's like capital, lowercase, etc. Like, then I don't know. Like, it just for me, I've always noticed with names this weird trend, and then everyone follows it, and then it disappears after 2 years.
No, you're right. I'm not exactly. I mean, it might be that it is a trend of older netizens, and a lot of the guys who started playing StarCraft were literally either playing Brood War, so Sue's name is from like when he was really young and it's official, or they just decided to keep it from when they were like kind of like playing Brood War for fun. But they made those names like years and years ago. I mean, I was never on board the hype train of XX hype man, blah blah blah.
Oh, that's because you were clearly never part of the Super Saiyan clan on Brood War, okay?
Well, damn, I didn't play Brood War that much. So
Super Saiyan 19 Vegito XX, baby!
But all of my names are either no caps or a cap that makes sense. And really, Tasia's capitalization makes some sense. Like that is the syllable breaker, I guess. Even though it's not a, you know, there's actually no reason to capitalize it. Just like there's no reason to capitalize the G in grub, but it did it anyways. At least
just
2 different words.
Just you wait. 5 years from now, we're gonna have emojis part of people's names, because all the regular names will be taken.
You think?
Can't even capitalize to differentiate. How many different ninjas we got out there, right? Like,
Yeah, a lot. I mean, you're right, but I'm just like, you know, they have to implement emojis being in like the form, which I don't think they've done yet.
oh yeah, it's absolutely not gonna happen. Killing the Hellion was nice.
Yeah, it was a good target fire because that Hellion is what makes Tasia decide to dive for the mineral. I think instead he just went after the Reaper. Got the SCV build in the command center is always something. So now he's gonna have a slightly faster one. There you go. It's good stuff.
I will say actually, well, maybe the macro fell off a little bit last game, right? Third CC timing and all that. Lover played a pretty solid game. His opening was strong. His defense wasn't too bad. He deflected 2 what could be very powerful attacks in TVT. Now maybe there's a little bit of lady luck on his side. I don't know, but I'm very excited and hoping to see more of this guy if he can keep it up here in game 2.
He's definitely a decent player. Because even when he fell behind last game, it was because of the build. It was because of Tasia's just good positioning. Like he was doing all the correct things in TVT and certainly still had a chance to win it until he was like 60 supply down. Then it was no chance. But this is some good TVT. Definitely better than I was expecting. So he's got to be Grandmasters, is what I'm gonna say.
Do you remember, man, when the Reaper grenades used to stop the SCVs and probes from going back to mining? You would like throw the grenade in the mineral line, and if they didn't put it back, they just sit there like, what was they doing? What's going on? I kind of wish they'd put that back.
Well, they had like the stasis trap, right? Where the drones, because usually use on drones, just literally like, they're like, whoa, that was an experience. I'm gonna think about that for a second, and they never go back to mining.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, they've nerfed the grenades so much at this point, and that's fine. I got no problems that they have. But with the damage being so weak, I don't know. I think a disruption to the economy would be cool to see rather than like emphasis on kills. And also, holy, I really like this Liberator skin.
It's mostly white, so I appreciate it.
It looks like a race car, like a futuristic race car or something.
Oh, I get you. I was like, it definitely doesn't look like a race car, but I get what you mean. Those like future, like the racing games that are like.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm about to play F-Zero or something. Looking at this
yeah,
bad boy.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's actually really cool. The entire like the colors of the skin with blue works out really well. Yeah. On this map too. It's like camouflage. Oh my god, they do this on purpose. I guess they wouldn't actually be worth it using camouflage. But like the military just doesn't use camouflage anymore in the future. That's something I thought about before.
Well, an interesting question posed in chat based off our name thing from earlier. Pinochle asks, do we have more ninjas now than we did in the 1500s? And the answer is we would never know. If they're doing their job correctly, at least. The auto turret's fire on that Liberator. Almost gets a tank to go with this, too. Either way, the Raven helps push this back for the time being. Without that Liberator, there's no easy way to get rid of the siege tank from Lover. But at the same time, Lover's got kind of not a lot to work with.
But he holds well I want to say better than last game, but I mean, there was that whole discrepancy of he took out the army and maybe there's a counter. And Fracture is a map where when you make that mistake, where you overextend as the Terran in a TVT, just for a couple seconds, you could be immediately countered. And that is scary. So I really appreciate Taja's pullback there. But he's going into mech as well. So the reason is probably he's being very conservative with his units. Which I think is an interesting choice, not for the map necessarily. I could see sometimes why mech would be okay on Fracture, but for Tasia, I never really pinned him as a mech player, but I guess his highlight years were when mech wasn't really the best. But then actually, I'm kind of remembering, I remember him mostly being the bio player against mech players. So that wasn't even it. Like he actually just, I always thought he preferred bio.
So in his retirement, he's learned to pull out and go play mech. Two very different things.
Yes.
It's a good skill to have, though.
Okay.
Playing mech, I mean.
Yeah, of course. Well, usually along with mech goes the territory of winning the air war, which Taja's definitely doing right now.
You know what? He is for sure if it comes to cool points. I really like these Vikings. Like, I thought the super spaceship-looking one that was super smooth. You use it, I think, too.
Yeah.
I always thought that would be the coolest one. I'm actually super sold on the way these look. Liberator does wrap around to the main base. It's the same one from earlier, by the way. It's just sitting there on 12 health. That'll be quickly removed from play. But it does bait him out of position, giving Lover the opportunity to possibly take advantage of this. No. Raven's not got enough energy. Could maybe Interference Matrix 2 of the tanks.
There's not really a lot of units down on the ground for Lover, so even if he did that, what would be the point? Well, now I'm going to do it because it's defensive. Okay, yeah, there we go. But the Cyclones take a long time to get engaged here, and this is just a disaster for Lover. Oh, no.
Yeah, they do say...
No.
It's difficult to date as a Terran. Rarely will you find one that's engaged.
It's too early for these puns, man. I decided not to have coffee, even though I don't really have caffeine that much anyways. Instead, I have this black tea thing going. I'm not impressed, man. You gotta up the pun game, get me to laugh once, and then I'll be on board for the rest of the cast.
It's like breaking the seal at a party, right? Like.
Yes, exactly.
All right, goes to the full break here. Not many tanks remain. It is an SCV pull into a mech army. I think that the citizens will not win this fight. In fact, the Vikings even lift up, keep themselves alive a little bit longer. So.
Can you imagine like World War II and they're like, hey citizens, go take out this tank. Just surround it, it'll be fine. Like what are they expecting is gonna happen?
Honor and glory, Zombie Grub. Honor and glory.
SCVs do have like the whole like exoskeleton, so it's probably a little more effective, but like really. That's definitely, oh my god, hell that's even worse. Oh no. GG.
GG. Well played. Tasia will take the first series of the day, confirming he is still a Terran player not to be messed with. And that'll send him to go fight against Classic Park. Or Class Park, excuse me. Another Terran player. Oh. We may stick with this. We may bounce elsewhere, guys. I don't know. But what we will do is go to our first commercial break of the day. So thank you for watching. Come at you with 2 minutes of ads. And for those who are experiencing the channel for the first time, thanks to the glory of the front page. We only play 2 minutes of commercials. We don't play them over like gameplay footage or anything like that. They're always scheduled for between games. So hopefully you can trust us and not feel too worried about getting spammed with ads. So we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. All right, we're back. Whoops. Echo there. Thank you very much for watching those commercials, guys. So we are in a bit of an awkward spot where there's some pretty interesting games that are like about to start. And well, we could follow Tasia to fight a player who we don't know the name of very well. If we wait a few moments, we can catch something really awesome like Stats versus Keen or other ones that start shaping up. So we're kind of in a little bit of the waiting game at the moment. As I said, with whatever bad analogy Zombie Grub is driving, I'm just the passenger here. So I'll leave it to her discretion to grab whatever and whenever comes available next. But for those who are unfamiliar with the Olimoleague and you're too lazy to join us in chat, let's go ahead and get those brackets up on the screen. We'll talk about these for a second. Yeah, I hope I didn't do this wrong. Okay, like 1/4 of the time display capture ever actually works here on OBS, I swear to gosh. Anyways, for those who don't know how things bounce around here for the bracket itself, it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a free-for-all battle of what we get to cast leading up to the semifinals. But once we reach this part of the bracket, we cast semifinals 1, semifinals 2, and the grand finals. So you'll get this whole part of the bracket here guaranteed, no matter what. But as I said, sometimes it is a bit of a just free-for-all battle getting games up to that point.
Okay, Crank's thinking the same thing as us. So he's gonna cast Stats. Just Keen.
Now, did you ask him or did you just join his lobby?
I just joined him. I saw Stats is in a lobby too, and I was like, well, unless Keen beat DHGHGH really quickly. It was a process of deduction.
Wait, where's the poop emoji? I gave Stats a heart. Crank can have a poop. Zombie Grub
That's rude.
can have an Alarak.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
I'm so proud of myself. I recently unlocked the handshake. Oh, do I not get it on Korea?
You get it everywhere.
Wait, I don't see it on my list. I finally did the co-op 150 level achievement thing.
Oh, maybe if it's attached to that, then yeah, maybe you do have to be on the same server. I don't know.
Grumpy. I was gonna start handshaking everybody today. Oh well. I don't get to play as much co-op as I used to, but I still make sure to knock out the weekly mutations and take on the challenges. And yeah, finally hit 150, which isn't that much of an achievement until you guys realize I'm also like level 100 on Korea too. So I've kind of just wasted a lot of XP and time leveling up to play on Korea so I can do the mutation twice a week because I don't know why, to be honest. I think like back in the day I had plans of like, yes, I'll get the first co-op video out this week, and then nobody cared about our co-op content, so I stopped caring and just played.
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah. Yesterday's mutation, or this week's mutation rather, I thought was gonna be like kind of easy, but
oh, they got a new factor out this week, right?
No, there's no new mutation, but it is a new set of mutators.
Oh,
like,
yeah, Heart and Will and Inspiration.
Yeah, like I think they had a mutation where it was only 2 of those, and then they added the rockets, so it's a little bit more difficult. And
what,
yeah, like
Chain of Ascension. Ooh, that's annoying.
It is annoying because the first 2 guys I played with, we just like we didn't push the person far enough, so that was kind of lame. Those were just lame endings. And then I paired up with a level 10 Rainer twice, and I was like, maybe I can do this. But I was like sort of hard moding with Tychus, because Tychus only has so many units, and you don't want to waste minerals building stack defense. But I was like, none of these partners were stack defense heroes, so I had to build my own stack defense.
I think Sukhov's always the best ones for those because his bunkers shoot through the PDDs that come.
So I had a Stukov partner who wouldn't build any static defense.
Oh no.
And I was like, I thought Stukov was going to do really well here. So that was one of the ones that we lost because she got pushed too far. And then, okay, last thing. I had this bullshit moment with Infernos and playing co-op with me. Not his fault, but unintentionally kind of his fault. The second elemental, and it shoots faster and has a smaller area. They have to kill
Right.
it. The bonus, yeah.
The bonus, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of like I figured out after like 4 seconds, like, oh, this thing shoots like a lot faster, is little stupid thing. And then Inferno comes with like his Nova army, which is like,
Oh
just
no.
really big,
Did he get you
chunky
rooted?
thing.
Oh no.
And literally we were like doing so well. We had pushed like 75%. We go and take out the second elemental, and all of our heroes, every single character got locked down.
No.
I just tapped out. I was like, this is so stupid.
Why didn't you just medevac out?
I didn't know you could from the stasis.
No, but I mean, if you see
I
it coming,
tried.
just like scoop them up real quick, like instead of getting stuck. Because that's the thing. Playing Tychus, you constantly stuck in your ally's army. It's infuriating. So I, at this point, don't use the medevacs to heal. I just use them to get the fuck out of the army because it takes too long otherwise.
So I was getting trapped first because he sent units down, and it would like block my micro. So I got like 3 out of 5 of my guys trapped, and then it was a snowball from there. So I mean, maybe I should have initially, but I didn't realize how much it would snowball. I thought, he had more units coming, they would break us free. That's not what happened.
Well, what's funny is I was gonna talk on this because you mentioned Tychus doesn't have a lot of units. Oh, Yo, Walger, thank you for the 2 years, dude. Tychus doesn't have a lot of units, and there was that mission, I want to say 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, with the kill bots, right? Like they would come in with the kill bots and they'll stop after they kill a certain amount of units. I couldn't figure out how to do it as Tychus, and I got a little frustrated, honestly, because I thought missile turrets would count. Like I could just spam turrets or something, right? And those would count as kills, which they don't. So I swapped over and I played Stukov. But the Tychus I played with was like 5,000 IQ. You know what he did? Instead of pushing out like fast heroes, he built 5 CCs. And he just kept building SCVs to sacrifice to the kill bots.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's actually so smart. I would never have thought of that, like, at all.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give myself some IQ points here too, because that's what I was doing. I was sacrificing SCVs, and I mean the better thing to do was just to kill all of the structures, because then they would stop appearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that later. I learned how to, more accurately, I successfully did that later as I got his build down.
Kathy taught me that, Zerg girl. I've been doing this for so long. I had no idea that if you actually cleared out the whole area, it'll stop spawning special units.
Oh, well, it was on like the Reddit thread that's always up, but it's like, hacks mode. Anyways, it's like reading the strategy guide. But I would sacrifice SCVs. But the oh my god, it's so annoying though, because so I don't know about building 5 SC like command centers, because I think you could do it with just 2, but that's it's his prerogative. But it's annoying because the SCVs, like the killbots will only attack things that are attacking them, and the SCVs like won't continuously attack. They'll just stop after you first.
They auto repair too by default in co-op.
Yes,
which is
and
so
they
silly.
auto repair.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So like at one point I was playing with someone who was also Carrick, so they're auto repairing and regenerating. We couldn't sacrifice their workers. It's good chat though.
So I don't want to jump out of the co-op talk, but just a brief update here for everybody, because I am aware people are probably like, are we just here for some podcast? Why is this on the front page? What's going on? StarCraft 2 is happening. We've unfortunately hit a little bit of a bump in the bracket where we're just waiting on a game. To show you guys really quick, we are in the lobby with the next player. We got stats. The hiccup is that his opponent isn't available yet. They're still fighting out in the first round. So the Tasia game we caught, that was like a 2-0. It was pretty quick. So kind of a bit ahead of schedule. Makes this look like it's behind schedule, but realistically, it's probably about finishing up soon. And we'll be, in fact, I see Keen out of a game as I speak. So we may just have this get going here soon. But yes, we have StarCraft 2 coming up. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. Some really good games. It's just unfortunately that early bracket hiccup.
Happens all the time.
Oh, and it is going to be Keen coming up. So cool. He won versus whoever his opponent was, which means you're going to be seeing a TVP with Keen, one of the most OG Terrans, versus Stats, another very OG Protoss. Good title of the stream.
This could be really good. Keen has had some success versus Protoss in this proxy meta, but I think at Super Tournament he got absolutely slapped down because the other guys expected it. SOS, it was SOS who expected it.
Proxy meta? What are you, Nathanius? We live in a proxy culture.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually not a good parody joke to make right now. But
I don't know
Keen,
about that joke.
I'm excited to see how he'll do. I think I still favor stats heavily, pretty much no matter who he's up against. I'm just a big stats fanboy. And shout out to Splice too, a really cool team to support. But if Keen can actually make this a series, I'm going to be very excited for it.
I think he could. Stats has shown, it's like less about Keen showing like strength in it, and stats maybe showing weakness in it. Like even though SOS seemed to have a very good answer over multiple PBTs to proxies, stats may be uncomfortable with the idea of being aggressive. That's not usually his thing. We're just not having as much luck as SOS. I don't know, but he just doesn't seem to do as well.
Well, folks, we're going to hop into Lost and Found for the first game. We'll see you on the map. All right, we're back, and none of you told me, but I was listening to the stream a little bit on delay, and I heard a bit of a buzz on my mic. Hopefully this fixed it. I gave it a restart, but if it is an issue, please let me know, guys. I don't want you having a headache listening to the stream. Although, with Rivka casting, you're gonna anyways. It's game 1 in a brand new best of 3. You're tuned in for the Olimoleague. Spawning here in the top right, playing for Team Splice, we've got stats.
In the bottom left, as the blue Terran, he is Keen.
An interesting debate about which of us has a more organized room is going down in Twitch chat. And I think I just have more shelves. It gives the illusion of organization.
Yeah. I don't know, like, organized is the wrong word, or disorganized in this case is the wrong word, I think. There's like, you know, different...
that organized?
There's different ways of being...
I got a chuckle. I'll take it.
All right, yeah. Maybe you did it. You finally did it. But there's like organized, disorganized. There's cluttered and decluttered. And then there's like just generally kind of messy, right? And not messy. And I would say that my stuff is organized and not that cluttered, but it is kind of messy.
No, you know what it is? You just have a lot of stuff is the thing. No matter how you organize it, it's gonna like look a little messy.
That too, yeah. But I really like, I don't know, like they're looking at my bookshelf, which has like, I don't know, a lot of shit on it, but like I'm looking at the same place that everyone always looks, okay, which is the bookshelf and then the ground. I'm pointing the wrong way, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no one can see. I'm not even looking at your camera right now. You're behind 3 different windows right now.
And I don't know what they think is messy about it, that there's cables on the floor, that there's a briefcase leaned up against the bookcase. Like I don't.
Well, now I gotta look because this is gonna bother the hell out of me. What are we talking about? Oh,
like,
do you you're back right? Okay.
Yeah. Like that's what I assume, anyways.
You know what it is? Which is I wish Zombie would make her bed.
Never. The most I'll do is pull the covers back up, so it's like kind of. But I mean, like the Afghan, like who I don't understand people who have to like have like perfectly neat beds. All right. Like,
you know what? I'm not someone who was ever trained to make my bed. And I was so excited 27 years later in life when I read this study that it's actually better to not make your bed.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh my God, been doing it right. Oh, yeah. I'm blessed.
There are people who swear that it kickstarts their day. More power to you. But who cares otherwise? Apparently enough people to always bring it up in Twitch chat. Anyways, we didn't have any proxies this game. We have a 1-1-1 versus Stargate opener.
Yeah, very, very, we're going to say normal in terms of this. Because for Keen, as you mentioned, this is kind of a proxy meta. And we're just seeing a lot of that go down. Sometimes in desperation against an opponent, but sometimes just because it's the map that really makes it happen. But Keen's done something that is just, well, if it catches the Oracle, it's going to be swell.
It's just swell.
You want to go grab a milkshake down at Pop's Diner later, Zombie Grub?
That'd be swell.
Come on. No, he's going to miss it. I might catch it on the way out, but all right, there's another one of mine in the mineral lines anyway, so the Oracle should be caught, and it should be dealt with.
it.
Well,
I think if you...
I guess timing really did not work out well for Keen there. Yikes.
Yeah.
But the medevac helps heal up the SCVs, and if you guys don't know, a little while ago it was changed so the Oracle takes 3 shots to kill a worker, not 2, so they can't just melt them through the mineral lines. And yeah, Keen only loses about 2 SCVs to this, to something he was prepared for, became unprepared for later.
Isn't that how it always works out? I mean, as a pro gamer, like, Keen's very good, actually. He does know, I think, the specific timings, but there's always a chance that, like, the Oracle swerves to the left for 5 seconds, right? And then suddenly your timing's off. For me, or like a lot of other Terran players as not professional gamers who don't have the exact timing down, I just kind of am like, this feels about right, and then inevitably you're wrong.
Then you lower your depot and a bunch of Zerglings run in. Been there, done that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, guys, we're getting a little bit of that Korea lag, so I just want to explain really quick for everybody because someone will bring this up. You're not lagging. Twitch isn't lagging. I'm not lagging. It's just the connection to the Blizzard servers. It's been like this since the last patch, and the players don't get affected by this lag, as far as we're aware, as far as we've experienced at least. So it's a little annoying, but I apologize. You just got to kind of deal with it. It happens once every 3 games or so.
Yeah. Maybe fixed one day.
Or will it?
Well, I believe.
Mike Borheim stepped down as CEO.
No. What's going to happen, Rifkin, is that they're going to implement the new balance patch and then, unintentionally fix it. So the Jenga tower.
Ah, okay.
The block's going to fall off and fix everything.
These oracles are kind of low, so right now the scouting is probably most of what they have in mind. Seeing Widow Mines still be produced would be nice, but they're not quite going to have that vision to confirm that'll be the case.
Reaper's gonna scout the 3rd base, not a surprise. We got a lot of gateways already done, and I mean, Keen has no real attack on the way. No stereotypical tank push.
The problem is, Keen isn't paying to win. Stats has skins from the war chest, Keen does not. Satasia, who won that series? Oh right, the guy with the cool new skins. Coincidence? I think
Probably.
not.
It probably is.
Okay. Fair play.
Well then, luckily Oracle's 3-shot SCVs, but also not luckily for the Terran, Oracle's never run out of energy.
Yeah. Well, on the other side of the map, we do have a pretty heavy push coming, considering Stats' army is kind of small in general, and a good chunk of it's on the other side of the map, but looks like the Widow Mines will not get the shots they wanted to. The surprise element no longer there for Keen, as he's driven out of the main base as well. Good defense out of Stats. Really good defense.
When a Protoss army looks kind of small and then 7 more Stalkers are warped in and it gets really chunky. And you're like, oh, it's not small anymore.
It's a grower, not a shower. I can appreciate that.
Okay. And I don't know that I was ever really going to do a whole lot. It was more, I think, designed for a charge lot defense where, like, the Widow Mines hopefully get some good shots. But
Keen, I swear, I'm sorry, if he puts that low medevac on the front lines, I'm going to lose my shit. Pull that thing back.
Not even paying attention.
Oh!
Is it the first one that died? No, it's the first one to unload.
Actually, yeah, surprisingly gets the unload too. Stats realizing he's lost positioning here on the ramp, pulls back the stalkers to behind the mineral lines. Widow Mines protect that ramp. There's a big chunk of units trying to push up. It's a lot of splash damage, but there's that warping you were talking about. Army looked a little small. Not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, those Widow Mines got what they wanted. It's not charge lots. It's Resonating Glaive Adepts, which is an interesting choice from our boy Stats here. But regardless, it does get cleaned up. It dealt a lot of damage. Like, as far as army trades, it was good enough. And then it also got all of the sentries, I believe. It didn't quite get the Immortal, which would have been a nice pickoff, but so be it. But Stats is replacing his army pretty quickly. Keen does not have a huge army already on the way. This is a very small drop that was only looking for freebies, not to actually like engage with any army. And all things considered, Stats does take the victory there. I think the second drop paired up faster and killing 15 probes would have made it, would have been Keen's lead, but that didn't happen. So Stats now has 13 more workers, more army, and faster upgrades.
Ooh. Well, the Ghost Academy will be finishing up about halfway done. I got to witness, I don't remember, was it with you? I don't think it was with you, because right, you weren't there for it. There's a North American StarCraft player I had never heard of before named Vindicta on Team Dust.
yeah.
And he had done this kind of like Ghost Rush thing. And then I played 3 games on ladder, which, whatever, Rifkin, your games are garbage. But all 3 of those games, these other guys went ghosts. I'm not sure what's up with it. Ghosts are really popular lately. And I'm excited to see him go for them here, not because of anything kind of trend, but EMPs are just going to be so necessary to strip the shields off that army. But, ooh, speaking of necessary, 11 kills, not necessary. Stats ends up taking a pretty big economic loss. Woodman's get a lot of the hits off before the Adepts transfer, so they come in without their shields, but that's still too much Protoss for Keen to handle.
Yeah, he needs like 2 more Widowmine shots, which he almost got if those didn't transfer. Now he's got 2 Widowmines, and he has the EMPs, but now it's going to splash up his own army.
Friendly fires the dick.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Keen's army supply is not doing too poorly, but War Prism is on the front line. We still haven't gotten to the meaty Stalkers and Immortals.
He did lose some pretty important ghosts there, too. An EMP would have been super valuable, but the reason his army supply wasn't doing so bad was because his SCVs were falling. He had pulled the boys, and 32 died. Stats takes game number 1. Not too bad from Mr. Stats.
GG. If they're gonna play both straight up though, even though like for some reason Keen does well against Cest in straight up TVPs, I don't know about that, but I would have given Stats the win here.
So by the way, I'm almost regretting casting this. I'm not, because this is a good matchup, but Tasia and Solar are facing off right now. That's a spicy match right there. Creator plays against Bunny on the top side of the bracket. We don't have the match yet, but it's probably going to be Gumio versus Rogue. This round of 8 actually has some really sick games.
Gumio Rogue.
Hopefully this, I kind of, no disrespect to Keen. I now hope he loses quickly so that we can be out of game and available to catch Gumio versus Rogue, ideally.
Right?
More lag, we were lied to. Look, guys, the thing is, I have no control over this, right? Like, there's no frames being dropped on OBS. Twitch isn't lagging. It's, like I said, 1 in every 3 games or so, the lobbies are just bad, and you're just going to get lag. Sometimes it's more than 1 in 3, but that's the rough approximate. And what's so very frustrating is there doesn't seem to be a way to game the system, because it's random. Sometimes it'll be crystal clear, smooth for me, and then laggy for Zombie Grub, so I can't even just like have her go do the observing instead. It's really inconsistent. And I apologize, because I know it's not fun to watch like that, but the best we could do, it's either that or we cast replays, which are even more no fun in my opinion. But we're getting a Parasite for game 2. See you guys on the map. Seriously, it's killing my desire to do Korean content though. All right, folks, welcome back. Game 2 kicks off between these guys, and in the bottom right side of the map, we have the Red Terran Keen.
Oh.
Are you okay?
You go.
In the top left side of the map, we have the blue opponent. He's up 1-0. We have Splice's stats.
God, I wasn't talking or breathing weird or anything, and then just...
Your voice sounds really harsh. Are you okay?
I know, right? And then all of a sudden, like, as soon as you're like, okay, we're back in the game, it was just like, that didn't feel very good.
I hope I didn't get you sick, man.
I don't think it was sick. I think that was just weird. My throat's been a little, like, it's been a little sore, but I thought that was because of, like, I don't know, drinking too many seltzer water or something. Anyways.
Yeah, we do have a bit of a kind of proxy coming into play, but it's not really. The big thing is this is a bit of a mind game that will play probably well for stats. The probe comes in, or for Keen, excuse me. The probe comes into the base. He sees no barracks. As Zombie mentioned, we're kind of in this meta where there's just lots of proxies in play. So if this kind of goes like check mark down the list, stats thinks, all right, there's a proxy coming. It's probably Cyclones. I'll go for a Robo, I'll get an Immortal, it'll be an easy hold. And Keen doesn't actually have to commit in any kind of way like that. He could actually bring these buildings back home because they're not very far out on the map.
Yeah, he could. Typically what we see on Parasite is the same exact positioning, but the opposite side of it. So it is a little weird for Stats, who, probably wouldn't scout there. He scouted on his side again, like, but now sees the Marine, and it's like, okay, so it's probably going to be the factory reactor, and you react to the Cyclones, but he still hasn't found it. So it's very concerning for him to know exactly when this is appearing, or if it really is the factory. Because what if it's not, and it's not there? It's a starport actually. That's something you would hope to already found by now with the probe scouting. Ugh, okay. I think I'm good now. Oh, that kind of feels like, like it feels when you like accidentally like hold your breath for too long in like chlorine water and stuff. That's what it feels like right now.
You know what feels worse than that? Realizing I wasn't muted during the intro. And now everyone's questioning what was being said. So you guys heard one half of that convo. Yeah, this lag that we've been discussing for 3 months now is really genuinely killing my desire to do Korean StarCraft 2 content. Part of the show is like really good games, but the other part of it is like a smooth show for everybody watching. And I, for one, don't love that every time I see that little lag spike, it not just bothers me, but I know it bothers a couple thousand people who are tuning in. I don't like putting on a bad show for people, so it's just frustrating because Blizzard knows about this. We know that Blizzard knows about this because we've talked to people from Blizzard directly about it. And it's either not a priority or it's just not something that's getting fixed anytime soon. So it's been very difficult. If you guys haven't caught it, Wardy, Naruto from Take TV, other people have expressed frustrations with this too. Basically, if you're not from Korea right now, you are lagging really badly on the Korean server, and it's really not fun trying to do this. The games are good. The players are great. In fact, they're some of the most dedicated, committed players of all the regions. So it really sucks that it's just pain in the dick trying to cast games on Korea.
Interesting choice of body.
I'm trying to think of something that hurts more than that, but I can't.
Yeah. So Keen adds a medevac to this, which makes the push like come later, instead of just being strictly off the factory. But it does give him that flexibility of micro, not just against an immortal shot, but against like the option of going to the main or the natural. But Stats responded accurately. Like, the catch-all building you do against a proxy is usually the Robo. If you want to take a risk, you can try and go for a Stargate, but it's usually the Robo. And if you just pump out Immortals, like, it feels like 9% of the time that's the right call, as well as a couple of Stalkers in case it's like, Banshees later on. But the point is, that's what he did. And everything's going so well so far. Hell yeah!
Okay, 13's a pretty nice score. This brings Stats down to 19 workers in total. Oof. I mean, for Keen, this was like not a super committed proxy. Like we said, he kept it close to home. He didn't commit in a bunch of add-ons because he wanted to eventually bring these back. But now he's just like, it's working.
Yeah. All of a sudden it works. It was already doing an okay job anyways, because those Chronos aren't going to the probes. Stats had to build a Nexus after 7x core, after his Robo even. So like
I love this.
It's one of those things where the proxy is kind of already working just by forcing the pros to respond, and then you actually get damage with it.
Well, this is, I mean, just when the probes are pulled off the mineral lines, that is such a big amount of damage when you got such a limited amount of workers. Like half the probes are at this base. The 15 seconds he's not mining is huge. And all this adds up quickly, of course, for Keen. But looks like a small attempt at a counterattack will not go that well. Stats will have this Warp Prism try to recall. Oh, can he kill it? Can he kill it? He kills it with the Immortal inside. There's the GG. Just the instant tap out, and Keen will tie up this series 1-1.
Ouch.
That stings for Stats. I feel like a lot of things went wrong there, but all of them were kind of understandable. Either way, that sets him up to go to the ace match, and we'll see who gets out of the round. This is still like the round of 16. That's so crazy. We'll see who gets out of the round of 16 alive. Either way, the winner goes up to play against Alive, as he got a nice walkover by the looks of it. Wait. his opponent got a walkover, and then he got a walkover over the opponent who got the walk. Oh, these brackets are all right. Something else. I guess we're gonna go to a quick break though before we do get into this game. So sit tight, guys. We'll see you soon for match 3. You can't accidentally forget to mute the map intro, or mute yourself on the map intro if you don't play a map intro. Welcome to the 500 IQ cast. It's game 3. Things have been tied up 1-1 and spawning to the bottom left. I was rooting for this guy. It's the blue Protoss stats.
The top right has the red Terran. He is keen.
Hey guys, we don't get to use it too often, but if you got an ace match emote, time to let loose in the Twitch chat. I want to read and see a bunch of nice little emotes there, but this, of course, as we said, is still just the round of 16. This actually is not that far into the tournament. To have a pretty intense match for 2 players to be decided this early is kind of crazy, especially because on one hand you had Stats, the renown of Stats, and you got Keen, who is the grinder. He plays in like every weekly tournament. North America, Korea, you name it, and he's always in the Olimoleague. It'd be very surprising to see him get knocked out this early, but if there's one guy to do it, it's certainly Stats.
And in what is going to perhaps be 2 macro games, that makes a lot of sense. It's so far panning out exactly as I expected. Not that Keen can't take on a good Protoss. Said he for some reason beats Zest pretty regularly, but it was unlikely. Stats' element is kind of that the first game and not so much a second game, and that's how the victories have gone. So seeing Keen not proxy is already, I think, a huge benefit to Stats. Because sure, Keen could do something kind of tricky on 2 bases. You could react out Factory on 2 bases and still surprise your opponent. It's far less likely to work, I think, though. It's far less likely to throw Stats off. Unlike a proxy, which, especially if you don't scout it, and you couldn't scout it because it was on Keen's side of the map, you actually have no idea what they're doing, what they're following up with, when they're expanding. You actually, it's harsh. I feel for Protoss in this one specific instance.
I will just say as a side note, by the way, I still think Keen, Zest, and was it Lenok in Toronto last year are probably my favorite trio of Koreans I've got to hang out with at any given point.
I guess, yeah, sure. I mean, it was fun. I always liked SOS dancing at Red Bull years and years ago.
Oh, right. I forgot. Yeah, you had been there for that. No, I think for me, if it comes to 1-on-1, Solar. Solar is kind of a party animal. I love him. But Yeah, the group of them was pretty fun, especially because I guess they were in Canada, so it's nice having people. Hometown, biased memories, I guess.
Oh, I was like, their hometown? I get what you mean, though. Yeah, Canada's nice. Been there plenty of times.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. It's okay. It's a lot like America. Except more Tim Hortons, less Starbucks.
A lot less politicky, too.
I guess, yes. But you still have your own issues.
Again, I don't want to dive. This isn't meant to be a politics thing, right? No comment on the actual politics behind it. But what I found interesting, I was watching a documentary about campaigning, and they showed the amount of time, not the money, not the candidates or anything, but just the amount of time each country spends on an average campaign for their elections. Oh, yeah. And it's crazy because you got places like Japan, they're like limited by law, only like 20 days or something, right? Canada average was like 144 or something. This shows the US, that's like 528 days. I'm like, that's over a year. That's so crazy. Yeah. I never considered that.
It's weird too, because as an American, either I've been told this in like civics class, I don't know, or I've recognized it, but I've always known it was like 2 years was like, presidential campaign. They would start their campaign 2 years into their presidency. So
what was funny but coincidental was I'd watched this and I'm getting caught up, so I'm a little bit behind. I don't know when the episode aired live, but the Jim Jeffries show did an episode where they had a bunch of the people come together, and he's like, isn't it a shame though, because he's talking to people who have like been part of the candidates for the Republicans and the Democrats, and he's like, you spend 2 years campaigning and people still don't know who they want to vote for. Do you feel like you've just failed at your job at that point?
Dang.
All right, I really like this variation of what you would see against, say, a Zerg player, right? You bring the Phoenix, lift up the Queen, use the Oracles to kill what's on the ground. In this case, of course, it's lifting up the Cyclones, but this ends up being very costly for stats. A cool idea, but I think he just overstayed his welcome.
There's also maybe some missed micro. That second Oracle never popped, right? They never attacked, the one that died. It had, like, so much energy.
Did it? I thought it had been attacking. I could be wrong.
Well, definitely. I mean, because it was just standing there, and it kind of like initially the Cyclone was just forcing me to move. It wasn't stats. Like maybe I was mixing signals, but it looked like it just had never attacked, or it stopped attacking. Like you canceled it accidentally or something. I don't know. I mean, I think the Cyclone eventually moves things out, and there's enough marine production that doesn't like super snowball. But I feel like if both Oracles were attacking together, they actually could have taken on like the Marines and maybe even that last Cyclone. But regardless, it would have also scouted. Whether it killed all the Marines or whether the energy got used up. Like the thing is, for Keen, it wouldn't have been a lot of SCV deaths, which was good. That was something that would at most trade out with a lot of the army, but then probably be out of juice by the time we got to the SCV line. So either way, like Keen's economy stays intact. Yeah, he's not doing so great because it's a third base set up for stats, and a lot of probes just now getting transferred over. So money for the Protoss, but Keen doesn't look like he's playing a game that's geared up towards a third base. In fact, if anything, we've seen Keen do that thing where you just lift the main up and transfer it over later. So for now, a bit of a two-base. I'm going to hesitate to call it all in, but attack. He's got Liberators coming out on that Reactor too. The Siege Tank's a little bit behind. There's one here, I think, in the medevacs, but... oh, he's actually got two. Nice. Yeah. Either way, he storms down across the map. He's been scouted, revelations on him, but timing to Keen is more important than the element of surprise. So stats forces the engagement he's taken over here, which Keen seems to be expecting anyways, but the point is it doesn't quite get on immediately. It's such a bad force field. Decided he didn't want him. He didn't need those force fields. But it buys him time for another warp in, and he could probably buy more time for yet another warp in. And if he gets that without taking any damage, like losing sentries and immortal, I think he stomps this. So Keen has to be very careful. Even though this army's not bad. Oh, there it is. How careful does he need to be, though, Zombie? I think he still needs to be careful, though. Like, Stats is about to get into the warp in. Oh, no. Phoenix Sims from the backside. He focuses it up pretty quick, though, so the Siege Tank is released. No. The collapse is too strong. The +1 weapons is great. The Marines go in, and the SCVs haven't even been part of the fight yet. I'm really surprised Stats took that engagement. It was like equal concave to equal concave, and then the Liberators were not being focus fired. So I don't know what he was expecting with that fight, but it did not go well. Oh my god, the Sogs in the backside get destroyed. They blinked into the Siege Tank range was a problem. But the thing is, like, Stats having pulled the SCVs like this, like, he really has to, and the Stats Keen, he really has to win the game with it, right? It's not about trading and taking a good fight there. He has to finish the job. He has to finish the fight. Yeah, I mean, you're totally correct. It just feels like that whole that whole thing you just said is more of a reason for him not to have taken that first engagement. Like,
yeah,
just
no,
give
I'm
him either
absolutely with you.
natural or third base.
Stats had no idea about the SCV pool. If he had more information, maybe this looked different. I don't know, but either way, like that first attack just ended up being such weak sauce for him. He blinks in to grab one of the tanks, but the stalkers still die nonetheless. Everything here is covered by the tank fire as well as the Marines. I can't believe it, but I think Keaton's about to steal this series away from Stats.
I think so. This is too good of an attack. This is...
What I'm really impressed with though is like, oh GG's. This wasn't a series where Keen had a proxy every game and try and do like those kinds of all-ins. It was a very different way to play. So I can applaud that because we've just been casting lots of people, Gumio, innovations, whatever. It's always just proxies and more proxies. And like the one proxy he did wasn't even really that much of a proxy. So I don't know, kind of cool stuff out of Keen. I'm very happy that he's looking to be in good shape today.
Yeah. We can catch Gumio versus Rogue.
Well, let's try and get into that. In the meantime, thank you for the bits, Yuki Alexa. Says, fell asleep with Twitch open and accidentally bought bits. So here you go. You guys are amazing for all the work you put in over the years. I'm not sure how you accidentally bought bits. That's impressive. But I thank you kindly for the $2.50 that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you. In the meanwhile, I guess Zomgrip's going to try and grab that game. Question mark?
They're not in the chat, so I don't know.
I see Gumio in a game on my friends list. Subtle brag, by the way. Friends with Gumio. Who else is jealous? But I don't have Rogue. No, Rogue's not in a game, so we should be good.
Okay.
So Gumio might just be in ladder or something. I was waiting. Cool. All right, so guys, I know we just played some commercials. We're going to go to a break just to get it out of the way. And when we get back, hopefully and ideally, we'll be able to catch Gumio versus Rogue. That's going to be a really sick matchup. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Be back in a bit. All right, folks, we're back. Thank you for watching those commercials. Once again, those who do watch the commercials, you pay our salary, you make it possible for us to do StarCraft 2, and I thank you kindly for it. But we are getting the next game, question mark, coming back just now from hacking up half my lung in the bathroom. Where are we at, Zombie Grub?
We have Rogue.
Okay, that's one half of the equation. Excellent.
Nice.
Gumio, if I gotta imagine, he's probably just like in the ladder game, so hopefully it won't take too long. But either way, this is a matchup that is worth waiting for, guys. So for those unfamiliar with the players, you don't play too much, you don't watch a lot of StarCraft 2, Rogue is probably one of the most... No, Dark is. But Rogue is up there as one of the more fun Korean players to watch when it comes to Zerg. And Gumiho is just like a god. A solid god. He's so good at Terran. He's got his ups, he's got his downs. I think at the moment we're seeing Gumiho in a little bit of a down phase, but he is one of the players I always look forward to on these brackets.
Yeah. This should be a really fun matchup once we get into it. It's best of 3. I think Crank's casting Alive versus Keen. If you guys want to check that out on his channel, it's a TBT. But I'd much prefer casting Rogue versus Gumiho.
Well, I think one of my favorite things I really enjoy about Gumiho is his variety of play, and Rogue's variety of play is what makes me really excited for this. Gumiho's a guy who, yeah, he can play bio and he can play mech. In fact, he's probably better known for playing mech than playing bio, but he's really good at both. Rogue, on the other hand, for a long time for me, I just saw as he goes 50 banelings with 90 drones, he wins the game because he never stops at that point, and he's relentless. And he has shown us that he can play against mech even with banelings, which is, by the way, not how you're supposed to play against mech. So I love seeing Rogue even when he's in a bit of a throw phase. I love seeing Gumiho even when he's in a bit of a down phase. And I think these two are actually really well matched for one another just in general.
Well, we'll certainly see. If Rogue comes out of the gates strong, I could be very scared for Gumiho. But Gumiho could do the same thing. Like, you could do like a Hellbit attack or just multitask, proxy, and be the one to control the pace of the game. But if he's in a ladder game, it's taking a long time. Whatever game he's in, it's taking a long time. And I think I might actually still be up against Penguin. It's never advanced the bracket, so...
Well, I'm thinking this might be a good time to do a prediction of the bracket, if you will.
Bye.
Marbles, of course.
Of course, yeah.
All right. Who do we have on the... Okay, so we got Rogue, we got Gumiho. Bunny advanced to the semifinals. Shout out to Bunny, not Team Liquid's Bunny, because someone's going to ask. Titan EX1's Bunny. Solar, Tasia... Alive and Keen. Alive and Keen. They're seriously like the Terran brothers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. 7 players going into this marble simulation. Oh, it picked a really bad map to do this on. This is a map everybody dies on. Hang on. I know you guys can't see the actual maps just yet. Yeah, let's go with this one. Speed run. Okay. Bring up the marble cam. Really, game? You got one job. Just show up on stream. There you go. All right. Players are picked at random, or the balls are assigned at random. We're running the race to see which of these Koreans will finish the bracket today in top spots. Rogue's off to a really good start because the game defaulted him the BaseTradeTV ball, so shout out to that. Oh, Gumiho has joined us. Give me just a second here to finish this bad boy up real quick.
Okay.
Which, by the way, funny enough, Rogue, Bunny, and Gumiho are currently leading the race. I'm just saying, the marbles, no, guys. They've left Solar, Alive, Tasia, and Keen all in their dust. All in their wake. Oh, I was casting with somebody recently. Who was it? Was it Fear Dragon? Someone out of me. They're like, I thought it was Tempo. He's like, he did it. He's like, why are you saying it like that? I'm like, saying it like what? Saying it like that.
Whip.
Cool whip. Saying what way? Oh no, Keen just fell off the map. You know what that means? He's gonna lose to Alive in that best of 3. And Rogue is finishing first place. So with that, Bunny, I mean, Gumiho can't win possibly. He may have gotten third on the marbles, but Rogue's going to beat him in this best of 3. In fact, I think with these 2 marbles in here, it means it's going to be a 2-1. So the marbles have predicted a 2-1 victory, Rogue over Gumiho. I'm ready to go whenever the players are, by the way. We can get out of the marbles at any time, but Keen eliminated. Rogue, Bunny, Gumiho, Solar, Tasia, Alive. Ooh, I mean, Solar beats Tasia too. The marbles know, guys. The marbles know. All right, we're gonna get into Parasite. We'll see if the predictions are true, or we won't because Gumio was the wrong race. Nice catch, Gumio.
Good
Real slick.
catch, Gumio. And you were the one that said ready. Well, really said GG, good luck, but still. Oh my
How
god, the
dare
amount of
they?
people pressing play did not understand what the Marbles game is about.
Namshar is even typing play. Yo, what's up, Namshar? How you doing, man? I'm dying. Good to see Namshar in chat. All right, we are getting into Parasite. I'll see you guys on the map. Zombie Grub,
What's up?
if I die,
Yeah?
tell my wife
Yeah?
I'm an orangutan. All right, guys. He's got a name instead of a barcode. It's new. I'm not used to this. In the bottom right, we have the Blue Zerg Rogue.
In the top left, as the teal Terran, it's Systrom Gaming's Gumio.
Rogue winning BlizzCon confirmed. I mean,
Can he beat Cyril? I don't think so.
I feel like the way we use the marbles as a prediction is not too dissimilar than just like throwing the bones, right? Like, oh, signs don't look good. Like just very vague statements here, but the marbles are precise. You know who's in first place. So don't compare them to those guys. I see you in chat, Zerg Troll.
So when it's inaccurate, what do you say?
Well, the marbles won't be inaccurate. The way we've interpreted them might be. Like, I may have misread it. Like, the 2 balls of 2 Terran finishing in the finish line might actually mean it's 2 wins for Terran, 1 win for Rogue, 2-1 for Gumiho. Even though I've predicted that Rogue wins because he won the race. See, you could easily misread that. I'm not going to claim to be an expert here, guys. I just read the marbles the best I can.
I mean, that's all you can really do in life.
I was about to do a Miss Cleo thing, but I'm very afraid that it'll be terribly racist. So we're going to...
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just back away from that one. Maybe we're not on the front page sometime. Not that I'm condoning bad racist impressions of people, but not now. Today's not the day.
We're gonna move on from here. So, as you were saying, as you were saying,
was the bad guy of the StarCraft 2 campaign for Legacy of the Void.
all I could think of was 30 Rock. She tries to change with an accent. It goes Irish. Okay, we had a CC first from Gumiho, didn't we? But both orbitals at the same time. That's usually what it means. So, or was it? Actually, they may have at the same time. They've just been barely. Anyway, it doesn't matter, actually. The Reaper is out to kill any lanes that Rogue would have sent over. Rogue at a third base. I mean, things are all looking Gucci. Here is the definite big difference to talk about. A second factory is already thrown down.
And it's going to get scouted.
Why? It's interesting that Gumio didn't go for a Marine since he calmly does it anyways. So he doesn't just do it here to hide the 2 factories?
I'm really not a fan of the Cyclone Hellion builds that come from this most of the time. I'm actually a much bigger fan of seeing players who invest in the just Hellions. Like, lots of extra Hellions this early in the game. I'm not sure if that's what Gumio plans to do, but the reason I really just don't like Cyclone Hellion is because I feel so much weaker than what it used to be. Before everything was changed, back in the days where watching the Muslim just laugh his way to victory on the beta, like, Cyclone Hellion was definitely the way to go. But nowadays, even in the late game, like, there just doesn't seem to be a place for it, but it is going to be Cyclones to follow this up. And a big part of why I don't like this is just how good Queens are at stopping it.
It feels like once you get past the big push, whether it's like a very fast one or it's a little bit later and it has +1, it's smooth sailing from there for the Zerg. But, you know, I say that, and we saw at least one time Gumiho won with this on Darkness Sanctuary, for instance, which I strongly believe it was only because he got like a couple Hellions and it killed drones, but whatever. Rogue knows about this. Rogue should have a lot of experience against this, because while it's fallen off for all the reasons you're saying, it is still used somewhat, and like Gumiho and him are probably battling each other on ladder all the time. So it's more in my eyes as, you know, not thinking that you have this on lockdown and being overconfident, but also making sure the Hellions don't slip in and kill drones. That's the big trick for me. Oh, double starport behind this. Gumiho, you silly boy. Stop it.
See, I like this though, because if you are making a lot of Hellions, you're not spending a lot of gas, and you can actually afford that second starport. But the bit of a bamboozle effect, tactic, if you will. There's an attack on the right side coming in too. It's not just one consolidated effort. So while roaches have to deflect the cyclones, the Hellions slip by over here, and oh, those Darklings line up really nicely for the Hellions. Gumiho fries up a lot of Rogue's army.
So this is already, I mean, he didn't quite get like the drone kills, right? But this already felt like, you know, Rogue was a little, he didn't expect this timing. I think we can say that safely. But then the Hellions getting through, this is exactly what I was saying, is how this ball gets rolling, but to a weirder degree, because we do have those starports on the way. But he's gonna find more drones. He gets 5. I mean, is it really worth all of those units?
I don't know. Like, resources lost wise, technically it's an even trade, but I think what I would have liked to have seen was more queens to go down. If more queens are dead, the starports have a lot more power, and it's double Banshee on top of this too. RLDM, thank you very much for the donation there. Chips in $10. Wow, $10. Thanks for the hours, time, and fun streams you put in StarCraft 2. Keep it up. Thank you for watching those hours, times, and fun streams.
So Rogue does clean up the second Hellions about, I would say, like, I mean, these at 7, but there are still like a decent number of Hellions. It's one of those things where actually I think this is a net benefit for Gumiho as long as it doesn't get countered. But I also was hoping he wouldn't get scouted, so I'm still kind of like question marking this drunken master style.
I don't know if drunken master is the right way to phrase it. I do like this very different style though, and the hyperflight rotors are always such a cool thing, but then against static defense, they add nothing. It's only for running around on the map. I mean, speed's never bad, of course. Blizzard knows this is how they buff every unit in the game, but yeah, Hyperflight Rotor's gonna make these Banshees very quick. 5 drones go down over here. A couple of things slip into the natural. I mean, Rogue's losing more than just drones right now, right? Like, he's losing drones, but also a lot of mining time. Constantly pulling away from these Hellions. Running around the map, there's one Hellion looking for one more sick blast. Double kill on the way out.
Damn, those queens were lazy. They're right there, and he was waiting for the roaches. All right, so this is, as I'm saying, like, I think this is all better for Gumiho, ultimately. Again, as long as it doesn't get countered. And it was always going to be hard for Rogue to counter because it's just a long map. But I like what Rogue's thinking right now. So I don't know what his plan is against the Banshees. He knew they're coming. I guess it's just Spore Crawlers and Queens for now. But he goes for an Infestation Pit. Now, I don't know if it's going to be for straight up to Hive, but he's going to get Parasitic Bomb.
Swarm Host, maybe?
But yeah, I was thinking also maybe Swarm Host, because inevitably you have to go back into the ground. But to go for Swarm Host immediately when you know the next phase is Banshees just seems like, well, they're going to be found and killed, right? So I gotta believe this is for a Hive. Or he just keeps the Swarm Host back at home, which seems like a waste of minerals and gas, because the sooner you get started with Swarm Host, the better they are. Okay, yeah, Hive. But then maybe later Swarm Hosts.
Well, Hydras are going to be the weapon of choice. And I don't know how good they will or won't be. Oh, in this situation. I was going to say, like, it's a moth to the flame. Also, side note, what is that moth meme? Why is that a thing lately? It's all over the place.
I have not seen this yet.
Wow, I'm actually surprised.
I feel like I might have, but I don't see it as much as you're saying.
I am one who lives in the memes, so it makes sense that I've seen it. 6 Banshees, though. Real talk, guys, this is a significant amount of Banshees to the point where, yeah, they're killing roaches, that's fun and cool. They can kill Spore Crawlers. A lot of times, Spore Crawler is just all the defense in the world you need, and you get a little complacent because you only need the 1. Well, Rogue does even have 2 invested here and there. The reality is these Banshees should be able to do some damage. Although not if he's not paying attention, like right now.
Rogue is doing a very good job of finding these Banshees.
There's good prediction, too. Now he
Yes.
scouts, and here's the beauty of that speed, right? Yes, the Hydras know where these Banshees are going, but they've got the speed to maneuver past them.
There's still a number that can kill a Spore Crawler. But now the Spore Crawler's job is just to buy some time. Of course, I might go around it. That's exactly what's happening. The Hydras finally have speed, something they've been missing, so they're going to be able to chase these down a little bit better, although they'll always be outpaced by the Banshees. They can maybe try and circumvent them a little bit faster. But Rogue has done a good job since the beginning, where he lost the majority of the drones, so I guess like 20 or something like that. He's done a very good job from there. But Gumiho as well. Like, Gumiho did not just like do damage and then do a regular game behind it, right? Like, he went for 4 bases pretty quickly, figuring Rogue couldn't attack him. And now he's on to, well, he's still putting Banshees, but I don't know about that. That's we'll see. But he's also going to Cyclones, which we all know my feelings on that. So I don't know. But I like how his macro is looking, even if I don't know about the composition, because I just really don't know.
What I'm terrified about, though, is like with Vipers coming out, yes, Blind Clouds, Abducts, you name it, but Parasitic Bombs could wreck the Banshees, because while they can run away from everything, they can't shake off that dot. But I don't know. The Banshees have an incredible, there you go, different word, an incredible amount of damage to them. And he's even getting upgrades for them too, which is you don't see too often. This many Banshees are just gonna be the sickest hit squad. Just like absolutely run in, just kill a hatchery and run out. You don't actually have to commit. In fact, the fact that they're, I don't even think he wants to use them for the army.
Well, yeah, I can't believe he'd use them for the army, even though he's made a ton of them, and you might start questioning. They're usually not, they're glass cannons, even more so than the Hydras, really. So yeah, I think they're just going to be used to go, like, to peel off and do damage, but he's maxed out, he's moving forward. Now, his upgrades aren't fantastic.
There's no Thors, there's barely any Vikings. These Vipers, whether it's for the Banshees or not, they're going to be really effective. Now, the Blue Flame Hellions can actually contest the Hydras here not too poorly. I like this combination, but unfortunately, positioning here was really bad for Gumiho. Even then, he still pushes us back on the left side. Those Blue Flame Hellions dive in for the Hydras. A couple Banshees still remain, but with none of the tanks ever having been sieged, so much damage lost on this fight.
There was some really good forward thinking there from Rogue, I think. Like, he refused to Parasitic Bomb. He might have sent out one. It was kind of hard to tell, but he realized the Banshees were all going to die like too fast for it to even really be in effect, because they were tangling with the Hydras.
Well, he also did something even before that, right? Like, he had been hiding 4 Vipers in the corner of the map for a very long time. He didn't want Gumiho to know about this. He didn't want Gumiho to feel panicked to make anti-air units like he was supposed to in that situation.
It is one of those things, though, where it's like, yeah, it's great that he hid them, because you want to try and find the Vipers and then, like, get them before they even engage. It's also like Gumiho's Vikings were just straight up late. That's why, like, when I saw the Banshee still being made, I was like, those should be Vikings right now. And he had just waited a little while longer than you really should. In a game where not much has happened past the first 6 minutes where those drones died, like, how do you not expect the Zerg player to get Parasitic Bomb? So it was just really cool that he hid them and Gumiho couldn't find them. Now he's in, definitely turtle mode. And luckily his army is like somewhat fast at being rebuilt, because it's some Cyclones, Hellions, and only a few tanks. So he's back up to max, so he can hold.
So that for the $3 anonymous, he says, bring the swarm. Someone's cheering for Rogue. Must be a marble. This has been quite the interesting position of a fight. He does have transformation servers, by the way. He's going to try and save the Vikings by doing that. Oh my god. No way.
Wow.
No, come on.
You're not supposed to live.
Lift. Oh my god, he's just hiding in the corner. This is like that guy in PUBG who's hiding behind the stairs. Just like, don't see me! No, what are you doing? Oh my god. Didn't even kill the creep tumor. What a worthless Viking. SCV's brought to the front line, but I don't know if this is the same as pulling the boys. Like, A, he's got too many SCVs, he needs to get rid of them anyways. But B, they're just like gonna be repairing things out here.
Yeah, no, I think it's exactly what they're for. Now, the Vipers are almost out of juice. There goes the last one. Targeted down by the Cyclones, actually. But Blinding Clouds are rather effective. There wasn't really a surround.
Ooh.
And Parasite has a lot of, like, chokes, right? And that was all that was happening for Rogue.
On top of this, too, if you got those SCVs going for that mass repair, a lot of them were kind of repairing each other in the Vikings, but they were on top of the tanks in the Blinding Clouds. So, keeps a lot of those alive, advances that line forward. This is kind of awkward because Gumiho doesn't need to actually move those tanks up. They covered the difference between the two bases. Now he can siege up on the right side without overcommitting to the south.
I think Rogue has to give this base up. And I think Gumiho should not take the base. I think he should just continue pushing. So
I agree.
Rogue, I mean, probably was willing to give that up, but Gumio's playing the smart game here and just continuing to push. He sees the Broodlord, just not many of them. Well, there's about to be more, I guess. But there's the Viking count still up there. Rogue never remade those Vipers, I don't think, so he just has Corruptors to try and help out.
Big thing is that he saw those Broodlords just now. If he kept going blindly, he would have lost everything. It would not have been worthwhile. Instead, he gets out of there with most of his tanks alive. And if he had lost all these tanks, I don't know that Gumio actually has the money to replace them.
It was kind of tricky, though, because I feel like maybe if like all the focus fire was right and there was no Vipers, which we knew there weren't, and he did not, that he could actually take these on, which he's going to do now. Yeah,
on Siege, as long as he's not doing friendly fire, he'll be okay. The Cyclones have their upgrade, by the way, guys. So as you can see, it doesn't make them do more damage. They just fire more shots off in a smaller period of time. He's investing in more Cyclones as we go, and I'm really not convinced that this is the late game unit to go for. But in this situation, it's not a bad choice, especially when you consider that the Viking count initially had been low. The Vikings were a good way to bridge that gap, but he's still investing with them 4 at a time.
Right, like as time goes on, I might get a little like, I don't know about this, but this is probably the one opportunity where I'm on board because he is taking out what is still kind of a low number of Broodlords and Corruptors. The Vipers weren't remade. Now that they're here, there's only 2 of them. They go for some abducts. He's going all in basically on the Broodlords, hoping that the Broodlings can keep the Cyclones back, which they are currently doing.
The target fire and the tanks too, they're not wasting shots here in the Broodlings, but they are now. They had focused a lot of the Hydras. Gumio had actually targeted those down, which was very important because friendly fire for the splash damage would have killed him faster than the Broodlords would have.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool micro going in here. They both knew the priority targets of the battle, and as such, they might just be able to walk away from each other. Like, Gumio might get this base, but then Rogue might be, still on 79 drones, 5 bases. He might be all right. Here comes the Remax. The Brood is still alive, and yeah, he will clean this up.
A little committed at Gumio. I would have loved to see him get out of there with the tanks, but by losing all the tanks, and that sucks because now you're not going to have them for the Hydras, he's become entirely mobile with his army. That is the one plus side I'll give Cyclones. They're great at run-bys. They can respond much quicker than tanks can, which have to unsiege, move slowly, siege. Like, Gumio's actually got a much faster, much more responsive army, pumping out 10 Cyclones at a time. Oh, I want to throw up, but if this works, that's so cool.
And in a kind of a low econ situation like this, they're not neither one on low econs really, but they're trading so much. So there's no bank. That's also where Cyclones can really shine as they take on these inexpensive roaches, for instance, the emergency unit that Zergs want to make when they're like, oh shit, they'll take them on with these upgrades. They got +3 and 2. So that's what they're good for, but it's a very long map. So that momentum that sometimes happens with Cyclones as a follow-up is not really happening, although they did, in this case, help to kind of deflect the roach run by.
One of the other things Gumio's been able to do this game that we haven't really highlighted, but I think is absolutely worth highlighting, he's done a great job beating back the creep. A lot of time with mech, because your army's so slow and so difficult to respond, yeah, you clean up all the creep on the left side, but you can never get to the right side before it's replaced. And then by the time you get to the right side, they've replaced the left, and like creep becomes a real big problem for mech players. Rogue has not been able to do what Rogue normally does, and that's get an excessive amount of map control. Forget the creep spread, right? The creep spread is just a way to measure map control. Rogue doesn't have map control, and that's going to make this very difficult responding to these faster moving mech units.
And it wasn't even because he was constantly left to right. He also just was taking out the queens. Initially, they were defending the Banshees, and they were taken out by the Hellion run-bys or the Cyclones, or they involved in the army. Rogue's down to 2 queens. I just want to make sure everyone knows that in case we see him have a bank and no larva later on. But he's banking on just having enough hatcheries. This is a scary army, as Rogue has a lot of his army killing a base, which might be worth it if he can hold here.
I don't know, because he's transferring another command center over. He's just moved the SCVs around. So, in a weird way, what is a decent-sized army for Rogue ended up getting split in half, and as it tries to come back, Gumio's also splitting his army in half, but I just feel like the +3 weapons in these Cyclones is just too good for the Roaches.
I feel like Rogue needs a surround here.
Rogue can't build any freaking units.
Oh, GG.
Hang on.
No.
How many was it? 25. He had like 3 overlords or 4 overlords lost that game. Became 25 there at the end. That's insane. I think I read the marbles wrong, dude. Or this is the one game in the 2-1 that Rogue wins. I don't know. But either way, that game for me was all over the place for Gumio. His endgame composition isn't one we normally see classically out of mech. His opening was certainly strange, to say the least. And I love that he brings out this different build against Rogue, because I think if you play straightforward against Rogue, I do believe Rogue has the upper hand.
I think so. You really have to cut him when he's not like, if he's already on 80 drones, you haven't done anything to him, I think you're just screwed, actually. Especially on a big map like that. But despite going mech, Gumiho made it such a high pressure mech that Rogue was never truly comfortable. Now, I think Rogue might have restarted because I don't see him anymore.
All right, well, either way, we got the next game coming up as quick as we can here. I'm still dying, so you guys are hearing me mute and seeing awkward, no sound, but thank you again for joining us here this morning, whether you're coming in from the front page forcibly or you've chosen to come here because you saw we were live. Thank you for picking BaseTradeTV. Now, I do want to actually take the moment while we have some downtime to talk about what happened yesterday, because yesterday was a bit of a letdown for not just you, the fans, but also me, as I didn't have anyone available to cover what was going on. I didn't have any casters scheduled. I was just going to solo it, but I was, and I posted this on Team Liquid, I posted this on Twitter. I was too sick. I didn't get any sleep because I was so sick. I wasn't able to cast the European qualifiers yesterday. However, that bracket did play out. I have those replays, and if I have energy at the end of the Olimoleague, I plan to cast some of those replays, obviously solo, here. But if I don't have the energy at the end of the Olimoleague, the plan is to come back later in the evening and maybe do an NA cast of the EU games. Either way, if you guys were really excited for Ting yesterday and you didn't get to see it, I am incredibly apologetic, but I do plan to cast those replays as soon as I can. That being said, let's hop into Lost and Found Game 2, Rogue versus Gumiho. Wow, you guys are up early, says Black Film Guild. Yes, we are. It is currently 5:49 here on the West Coast, but we start this at about 4 a.m. Zombie Rep's East Coast, so +3 to whatever I just said. But yep, Korean StarCraft 2 begs for Korean StarCraft hours. And thank you for joining us. That being said, we are getting into game 2. Spawning in the bottom left, we have the red Zerg Rogue.
In the top right, as the teal Terran, it is Gumiho. He almost made me say blue, but it's teal.
It's a variation of blue.
It's a very light blue.
At any rate, it's 1-0 for Gumiho, so he starts off pretty strong here in the series, off of a very fun game. But guys, I want to do a little bit of shilling real quick, because we won't be doing a lot of it during the broadcast, but there's 2 different Patreons I want to bring up. One is ours, but the other one I'll talk about first is the Olimoleagues. I've already seen 2 people asking chat today, how do they get the replays from these games? We don't send those out, unfortunately. Normally, we send them out to subscribers and Patreons, and it's no problem, but the Olimoleague exclusively sends out replays from this tournament. It's not our tournament, it's Olimoleague's tournament. So if you guys want access to these replays, you want to see some of the games we didn't cast, the best thing to do is check out the Patreon over on patreon.com/Olimoleague. But we have a BaseTradeTV Patreon, and I announced it last stream, but I want to bring it up again. If you guys are feeling awesome enough to get involved with it, and that's really up to you. I'm not saying you have to by any means, but we do have certain rewards over there. The big one I want to highlight, though, is we recently brought down the replay casting reward. Not for any particular reason. I mean, a couple people were already buying into the higher tiered one. I just thought that this would make it maybe a little more available for people. So that has been brought down by $5. You can check that out on patreon.com/BaseTradeTV. If you guys are interested in having some replays cast here on the channel sometime in front of a ton of people and make me mad watching your terrible games, that's how you get it done.
This is definitely CC first pick of me, huh?
Is he doing the same thing again?
I think so, yeah. Well, he's opening up the same way. I don't know if he's going to add the second factory.
Right, it was such a ballsy factory, like right in the face of the Overlord, but not putting it down as quickly. I don't think he's going to try and bamboozle Rogue with the same thing twice.
Yeah. Well, I was not paying full attention to the exact timing of command center. But when two orbitals are finishing side by side, that means it's CC first. It's not really done that much, and I wonder why. Because like, the weird thing is, when last time the CC first was a popular build against Zergs, it's because early pools would not do anything to it. It would finish before anything was sent across the map in time, and that was kind of like the tricky thing, even though it seemed like the more dangerous thing to do. And it still technically is, because it still throws off your Hellion production a little bit, but yeah, I just wonder why it fell out, and I wonder why Gumio's trying to bring it back. He also tried to bring it back to TVT, and he won once with it. I don't know what that was about, but he did it.
I don't know. Players bring back weird builds all the time. I remember it was like a year and a half ago we watched Semper do a battlecruiser rush against Zerg. And then fast forward to, what was it, in the Ultimate Series, I just saw this on Reddit, Euthermal apparently did it versus Raynor. Like, I think that you can try and bring back old builds, and if you can add some like new meta flavor to it, you can totally make them viable, but it doesn't mean that they're good right off the get-go. It might be specific situations they work.
Yeah. Now, Rogue's playing pretty safe. He once again has just full vision of what's going on, and while it would eventually die, the Vikings come out finally, and he won't see that it's Banshees. He still saw that it was Hellions into a third CC, and it doesn't cost much for the Zerg player to get 2 Spore Crawlers. With this timed lair, he doesn't even need a second or third one, actually, as long as he has Queens to patrol.
Nice blast here on the Lings. It's always difficult getting that first shot off, because sometimes it goes a real haywire and you end up hitting very little, if none, of the Zerglings, but nice blast there for Gumio. Also, I just want to put this to rest really quick, guys, because I have been dealing with people complaining about me, complaining about being sick for like 9 days now, and yes, I'm keeping track. It sucks. I hate it. I don't have a job that I can just turn off, and if we stop casting for like a week prior to disappearing for 3 weeks because BlizzCon, TwitchCon, and all that's coming up, like, I've been to the doctors. They basically just said, drink lots of fluids. You've got a bad cold. You're old, so it takes longer to heal. That's all there really is to it.
Oh, no. You got the you're old cough?
I got the you're old. Well, they also said, you're not living the healthiest life and blah, 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 but mostly the you're old part of it, yeah.
That's sad. I really like my physical therapist I'm going to, not just because she has, like, weird, like, magic physical therapy, but because she also, like, at no point was she like, well, stop sitting so much. And it's like, yeah, that is good advice, but it doesn't actually help me. She just is like, this is what you do to help offset the consequences of your job. And I was like, love you. But anyways.
Well, this was kind of a cool move, by the way. Didn't want to interrupt your story there, because Gumio was trying to kill that roach and actually got scooped up by the Overlord, which revealed, okay, drop Overlords. And it's Queens, and it's a really big attack.
Oh, he moved his 13C already. Oh, Rogue's All In is going to do work here. It's actually, I surprised he didn't keep any roaches. The Hellions might do a bad job against the Ravagers.
You know what? The Lings come in staggered as well.
Yeah.
Giving the Hellions time to transform. This is a very interesting situation. I think Gumio holds this, actually.
I agree. Like, the Queens took forever. I guess they had to be scooped up again, or like, this is not going to work.
Ooh, well, hold the phones on, Grib, because this one might be doing a little bit better. Lynx make it through to the main base. Everything is focused on the front line, so nobody's defending those SCVs, and 10 go down. Banshee spawns, but I mean, like, she's only going to do so much. Corrosive Bile covers the screen for a second because it kills the tank. And forget what I said about holding. Gumio might just be dead.
Yeah, this is actually back and forth. Now Rogue has not killed enough of Gumio's SCVs quite yet. And with the Cyclones not popping out and 1-1 still on the way, I think Gumio holds and then is still in a good spot, but there's a follow-up Spire, which I think is a great idea from Rogue.
Yo, if Gumio had that third CC as an orbital, by the way, I'm like, this is like easy lockdown. But because that's still a third CC and only just now turned into an orbital, this actually is a little bit worse than initially it looks.
So, okay, let's talk about what a loss here,
Oh, he dropped a creep tumor. Sorry, go on.
That was annoying. So, okay, well, forcing a scan's a really good deal. But, all right, we're only down 7 SCVs as the Terran player. That's not bad. Well, okay, 8, whatever, anyways. But Overlord's gonna die. Queens died. No upgrades are started for Rogue. No 4th base, so that's also gonna affect Larva, potentially. And, I mean, he really did not have a lot of droning. Now he's back, he's up to 49, but these mutas are not going to be that powerful as I first expected. He was building this fire for such a long time, but then he actually continued committing to the all-in with a Ling Flood. Ooh, with so many Lings, though. Well,
It
Okay,
won't
so now
take.
he's got the 9. But the Cyclones will deal with low amounts of mutas if they're not on the side of the map.
The 3CC was moved, by the way, but it's not part of the wall yet. Hellbats come in on the ramp. I mean, the thing is, low amounts of Hellbats can take on tremendously large amounts of Zerglings, right? Given good positioning and all that. So this isn't so scary for Gummio in terms of the Lings. It is scary, though, because of the mutas.
It is, yeah. And I really... Gumiho's going for what he thinks is going to be an amazing counter, because what if Rogue only has access to Roaches and Lings? Lings will not do much damage to the Cyclones because they have 1/1 upgrades, and then he has Hellions producing pretty quick, right? And Roaches will deal with the Cyclones as well. But mutas, that is a different issue, where if you get enough of them coupled with Lings, the muta, the glaive bounce might work, and then do you have enough to defend the mutas when they inevitably counter? That's what we're gonna find out literally right now.
He just saw the mutas and started turning tail, by the way.
Okay.
That's kind of speaks to the confidence here of the anti-air. I mean, the realistic thing is these Cyclones would kill a Mutalisk or 2, but they wouldn't have the consistent damage to kill the rest of them. So it's a problem still. But getting some nice damage, some good shots in. He does kite backwards to the best of his capabilities. Vikings doing the best to hold their ground and stand. He's not shooting the Vikings. He's killing the Cyclones, which is allowing the Vikings to free fire. And I think Vikings are a bigger problem than the Cyclones.
It was really hard to focus fire when the mutas are clumped up like that. So a lot of these low mutas are still alive.
GG.
Taps out.
Oh my goodness. All right, Rogue ties up the series 1-1. And the marbles might just be right, guys. We're going to go to a commercial break before we hop into game 3. So we do have the ace match coming up next. Big shoutouts to Zesty Scanner. That sub. Great name for the scans. We saw that game. I hope that timed out on the delay. But yeah, we'll be back here in a couple minutes and we'll get into game 3 ASAP. So thank you for watching.
Sunlight begins to fade now, and I feel like I'm losing time, but I don't know how I'm here. The sunlight has turned to gray, and I feel like I'm losing love again. I don't know how I'm here. Feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe, and it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need.
Did you guys like that intro? Because we played it appropriately and then Gumiho left and is not rejoining. So, cancel that. We're still getting to Cerulean Fall. We're getting the lobby back up. Zombie Rep is inviting Gumiho, and hopefully we'll get the show on the road here in a moment. I do want to talk about something a little bit not so related to this, though, and it's not an advertisement. It's more like an acknowledgement, because I'm not actually like paid to talk about this. If you guys haven't seen or haven't heard or haven't read the tweets, I'm going to be in Chicago from October 19th to the 21st. There's a charity land going down. The charity, I believe, is Extra Life. There's a poster, ghetto poster really, in the description below the stream. It's got a link to how to sign up and play as well if you're a StarCraft 2 player and you happen to be in the area. I hope you come out and play. I'll be casting there live. Zombie Grub may or may not be tuning in from her home.
I am.
Okay. But either way, guys, I'll be out there doing some StarCraft 2. So I hope if you are in Chicago or near Chicago, you'll come out and play in this tournament so I can get a chance to meet some of you. But hopefully that's filling enough time for Gumio to come back to say sorry and go, go, go. So let's try Cerulean Fall once again. I'll see you guys in game. All right, folks, if you've missed out on everything leading up to this, we've had a really great series on our hand. Things are tied up 1-1. A different kind of all-in traded out. Did get this guy a victory in the bottom left. We'll see what he goes with. It's Jynneir's Rogue.
In the top right, as the Teal Terran, he is Gumio.
I'm really interested to see how this one plays out, but I do look back at the brackets, and if you guys haven't seen them yet, obviously hit !brackets there in the Twitch chat. Solar and Keen are facing off in one of the semifinals, and the winner of this goes on to fight against Bunny, who defeated Creator 2-0, which I think is actually pretty impressive for Bunny.
Yeah, okay. Let's, Creator had some pretty good games recently, both online and then obviously in the Super Tournament, so that is pretty cool. I'm kind of still sad to see Solar versus Tasia, especially because it ended up being a 2-1, so a little well-matched there. And I would love to see Tasia's continued rise to where it used to be in those other matchups, not just TBT, which is what we seem to always get him in. But anyways, another CC first. I mean, I don't actually think, I don't know how you would punish this, except going for like a really truly all-in Baneling bust. Because then their factory might be a little bit later. But you'd have to know for sure that they're doing that, and then that SCV scouting or something like that, which Gumio could totally do with this to be really safe, to be really smart about it. Because there are, I mean, Rogue is Rogue. At the end of the day, Rogue doesn't need to see you doing something a little bit greedy to be like, you know what, I'm going to all in. Last game he did see it, he scouted it. And then other games, he's gone Roach Ravager on one base just because. So I guess that's how you might be able to punish something like this. But an early pull is not one of the ways. As you can see, the command center is already done. Even if the Lings had gone straight to the command center, they wouldn't have been able to stall it out.
Just because is a pretty solid reason in StarCraft 2 sometimes, though.
I don't know what this guy's talking about. You definitely said Chicago.
Okay, yeah. Chicago. Although, I will say I don't love going to... I really typically don't love flying to the East Coast, but I've never been to Chicago, so it'd be kind of cool to cross that off my list.
Yeah. So this is a little awkward. Now, this is not all the Lings, I was going to say, we're the other ones. And this now becomes really awkward as Gumio lets them into the main base.
Yeah. The Marine hides behind the SCVs, and these SCVs are actually microed really well, so you know what, Zombie Grub? Well, okay, well, towards the end that fell apart, but that was almost a really perfect defense out of Gumio. If he didn't lose those extra 2 SCVs, and there's a good chance he may not have, that would have been really bad for Rogue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't... I don't know what the technicality, like the technical advantage of doing a command center first is, like how many SCVs you're supposed to have compared to a one-rack expand or anything like that, but it is this weird thing where like, well, 3 SCVs really isn't that bad, right? Because he actually was producing SCVs at the natural during that time. There's 1 SCV mining, now it's 3, you know? So It's like you could have also just denied the command center from producing for a while, but whatever. He also got a scout, I guess, is what else could have happened if he got the lings up there, and he did. He still is missing an Overlord scout though to once again see if it's a Banshee follow-up or not. But with most Terrans, it is kind of just like, well, don't you just want to assume that it's eventually Banshees? It's just like, is it a medevac or Liberator first, or Viking?
Why's it gotta be Banshees? Why can't they be Banshims? Am I right? Guys, am I
Well,
right?
As soon as it becomes herstory, I will give you Banshims. It's a decent trade-off to me.
I think we need our own tournament that happens on Sundays, not Saturdays, and I think it's for men only, and it should be the Banshims.
I won't even contest that as silly as that is.
I'm
You call it the Banshims.
I'm gonna call it the sister tournament, just to be a dick about it. Like,
Why would you not call it the brother tournament? Wouldn't that make more sense?
because of the heavily implied sarcasm, Zombie. That's why.
Okay. So we do have a Hellbat attack on the way, but Yumiho's using Cyclones and then Hellbats? No, Hellions. The Roaches find the Hellions and they don't do nothing. Nothing
Well,
at the third base either, which is actually a big concern for Gumiho, who was initially like, oh, he's playing very smart, but then he's got to start thinking, well, is he playing smart and not transferring any drones, or is he all-inning me?
okay, attempts to try and grab a couple of pickoffs here, but it's not going to quite work. Banshee grabbing the Ravagers early is huge, though. This makes it a lot harder to break that wall and stop things that might be up on the high ground like a tank. However, there's no tank. It's a fast third CC. So this is kind of trouble town for Gumio. He's not in danger of losing the game from this, I don't think. I think an SCV pull could actually really just fix it if it came down to it. But the Banshee's going to have a lot of time to whittle away while he's trying to get up to the high ground.
So I could have sworn Gumiho was going to start Cyclones. I thought he regretted not starting Cyclones earlier, but he's still making Hellions.
Micro, I guess he just assumes the Banshees will hold this, right? But Micro in the middle of the map is why Gumio wasn't paying a lot of attention to the high ground. He actually cut off a lot of Rogue's reinforcements with a little bit of medevac Micro. So that's kind of cool to see. He does clean this up with that SCV pull as predicted. It cost him a little bit more than he expected, probably. But with the third CC, if it actually finishes up, I don't think the amount of SCVs lost is that bad.
Well, Rogue's trying to make it as macroable as possible by getting these last few snipes. 7 suddenly becomes 15, and that is a decent number.
Yeah, that was like 38 when I said that moments ago. That built up really quick.
Yeah, it did. So that actually, Gumio pulling back to mining was not the right move. He was probably concerned about lost mining time, and then was microing elsewhere, and just lost, I think, too many SCVs to go from what was this should be a very good position for me, into I still think I have a better position, but it's kind of questionable, right? He still has an okay number of SCVs, 3 mules are on the way, and his army supply is bigger.
I'm sorry, but Mushroom Cities, I can't. It's so good.
I don't actually get... Oh, okay. I was thinking Final Fantasy 9, and I was like, there's no character in Final Fantasy 9 named Thor. What the hell is
Yeah,
this?
why did Terran have Thors and not Freyas? I mean, you've got ghosts that can become female ghosts. Hello, Blizzard. Wake up, people.
Now I get it. That's pretty good. This counter... Ooh, everything. Ooh, everything combined might just be really good. Slugfest, though. Jesus. Nope, not good enough.
The marbles! The marbles foretold this!
GG.
Dude, who was that female Transformer? The one from like the old Transformer movies. You know who I'm talking about? She was like pink, transformed into like a motorcycle.
I never watched Transformers. Now, if you want to talk about Beast Wars, I also don't remember the woman in Beast
Black
Wars.
Arachnia was in that one. I know that one easily. No, I was thinking. Here, hang on. I'm gonna Google this. Right? You're not gonna see this on stream.
Cheetor. I was thinking of
Cheetor wasn't a girl. What?
I know, because I was thinking of Thundercats, where the cheetah person was a girl in Thundercats, but not Beast. Whatever.
All right. Someone in chat's gonna know this. I'm gonna feel so stupid for not knowing it. But what if, right? What if instead of Thors and StarCraft 2, you had these big sexy lady bots? I'm just saying, I would be so down with this. They call them Freyas. Hell yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Fembots. Okay, so is it a fembot like Futurama fembots, or is it fembot like Austin Powers, their nipples are guns? Because I want the latter one as a skin at least.
All right, guys, we got a lobby coming up. We're going to. Okay, we're not going to play breaks. Let's just get in the game. Because if I stay here for 2 minutes, I'm going to be Googling so many dumb things. So let's just get into game. It's the semifinals now for the tournament. On one side of the bracket, we have Rogue versus Bunny, but it looks like we'll be doing Solar versus Keen first. I think they've been waiting longer.
Yeah. But Keen's not here, and I want to go get water.
Well, you got time to go get water. That's fine. I got to be here to press all the buttons to do the things. You can go BRB, but yeah, dude. Oh, guys, keep the good ideas rolling. I am so behind. Can we get a movement? Do you guys know about cheat codes? This is like a really fun thing I learned recently. I didn't even know about this. There's some video I saw on Reddit. But Blizzard has like a whole history for StarCraft, Brood War, and all these other things. But I've known the cheat codes, all right? We've heard of Black Sheep, Wall, Power Overwhelming. But there was one cheat code called Operation CWAL. I always call it Operation Qual, whatever. What I didn't know was that stood for something, right? That stood for can't wait any longer. And I knew that, and I thought that just meant because that's why you want instant upgrades. What I didn't learn until later was that that was a group, like a movement in real life, who had planned to like break into the Blizzard offices, steal StarCraft because it was taking so long to get released, right? And they named the cheat code kind of in a bit of a reference to them. I kind of like that. We need more stuff like that, dude. I feel like that's where StarCraft lost its magic. Like, there's no connection to the community or the weird, crazy stuff. Like, I want more of that. And like the good ideas you guys have, I wish that shit was in game. Like, we're making jokes about the Freya thing, but that would be so dope, honestly. So welcome back, Zombie Grub. You're in time for Keen to still not properly be ready to go yet. Also, we had a sub I missed earlier. Who was this? Sorry, the game is picking up. Toss Good 8. Thank you for the 3-month resub. Awesome stream, guys. Thank you for supporting a terrible race. Let's get into Fracture. I'll see you guys on the map. Arky, thank you guys. Man, I gotta say really quick, if you guys haven't seen the old like 80s Transformers movies, I actually rewatched one of these like about 2 months ago or something. So good. Like, honestly, the music, the animation is surprisingly like it's survived time to be what I would still consider good nowadays. At least better than the current Transformer films, but that's up to you guys to decide, I guess. Klebos, thank you for the 43-month resub during the introduction as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Olimoleague. We're getting into game 1 of the semifinals. Spawning here in the lower right side of the map, we do have the Blue Zerg player Solar.
Being a bit cheesy, aggressive. The top left, as the Red Terran, he is Keen.
Can you cast the whole game with that accent? Can you keep that up consistently?
What accent?
Like, do you want to just do like a, I don't know, like a hick accent for like a cast?
Oh. I didn't
Or
even
Southern,
like,
excuse me.
yeah, excuse you, sir. I probably couldn't.
I'm
There's one
thinking,
thing
like,
that I wish
I think of SCV, so I think of hick, right? They got the mullet and everything.
Oh, I mean, you can say whatever you want. Like, I don't actually care. I'm not Southern. Some Southerners would agree. I've been watching a lot of Golden Girls. You know.
Oh, I'm
just
sorry.
Feel good. It's an amazing show. Shut your mouth. Anyways,
They had
Blanche
Burt
is
Reynolds
like,
on it. That's all I know.
yeah, it did. I had a lot of famous people from the time period. Anyways, Blanche is Southern, and occasionally she'll make jokes about like very stereotypical Southern things, where she like there'll be like a, I mean, it's basically an incest joke, right? Where she's like,
Oh, I'm glad you're
say
bringing this
something
up
about-
while we're at the front page. Do go
I know,
on.
right? Yeah, but they'll be like, yeah, they'll be talking about dating or something. Like someone was gonna date their mom's ex step-husband, like whatever, stepfather, right? Like, or something like that. And Blanche would be like, now that's just wrong, and I'm from the South. And I'll be like,
Oh,
Ooh.
my God.
That's a lot of subs.
I hope you guys are ready to hear a lot of thank yous. Mighty Un. Sir, I know you're in my time zone. I don't know why you're awake at 6 a.m. But thank you for gifting 20 subs out. Ooh. And we got a $2 donation coming in on top of that. Excuse me, $5. Says, much love from Romania. Thank you, Anonymous. And thank you, Romania, I guess. But let's see if I can do this really quick. This will be a mistake. I'm sure it will be. But all the people who were gifted subs just now. My bad, Mario. Busy Salad. WWCCRR underscore. Quick. 123. Raptor X. Pantsu CPID underscore. Wrong Star Daniel Elf 7. Lazy J 79. Willie Detonator. I'm Too Spooky 5. You Rockin' I'm Blue FPS. Slavomon. Doom Muffins. Adonis 01. Unravel 89. And Keefy85 with Mordican coming in to follow that up. You guys just got gifted subs by the very generous Montoon. Thank you for that, dude.
There's some important things going on. Solar finally used that early speed to take out a mule, but weirdly enough, he didn't take out the Reaper. He also didn't go up into the main to get any scouting done, so he has no idea that the factory was not transferred off, and this has become a very popular build on Fracture. Thermal is doing this every time he's on Fracture.
Note the speedy overlord. I think Solar kind of actually had an idea about this. Knowing that his scout might not have been guaranteed, he follows us up with a quick overlord that was supposed to get in here, but he still hasn't seen beyond the reactor.
So this is really weird because it might look like a 2-1-1 to him, just seeing a lot of Marines. But it's not, it's actually not the, okay. It's not what Euthermal does. This is there are no Hellions with this, which I think is really the tricky part to it, because you're either defending the Cyclone Marine drop or you're defending the Hellions. And then you multiply that by like 2 or 3 times because they're going to do it multiple times as long as their units are alive. This is just a drop. And then the Cyclones come forward on their own, which I'm not sure is as effective.
So in here, you see are you on my camera? You see the little Reaper, right?
No, I guess not.
Oh. Well, it looks like he's ready to show off his sweet gun juggling skills to these Circlings. Like, hey guys, watch this.
Yeah, I have no idea where you are, because when I hit camera on your camera, it's like the top of Keen's base.
Because that's where I was when it paused. That's interesting.
Yeah.
We learned something today. Simply Raph. Oh, I almost said Ralph. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. I guess you guys don't know we're on pause break just yet, but keeping it real, keeping it alive. Thank you very much.
Fast forward into it.
Just snap back to reality.
Yeah. I don't... We're going to see how this goes down, but I don't think this has as much potential to get drone damage.
Oh, shit. Sorry, this is so much more important, by the way. All those gifted subs added up. We're at 1336 now. If there's any nerds out there that want to make this right in the world, not 2, not 3. If you guys do this wrong, it's fucked. We need 1 person to sub. Just 1.
You're going to get either no subs or multiple people subbing.
I think the elite will prevail. Because what will happen is 3 people will sub and 2 people will unsub at the same time. Be perfect. Easy peasy.
I don't know about that. All right, so yeah, Keen's build, not really going for the drone, just got an Overlord, I think. And then that was kind of it. As long as Notifac's alive, I guess it always has potential to do more damage. It just doesn't feel as potentially potent as what Euthermal was doing. And before, European Terrans better than Korean Terrans. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Oh, Medevac boosts around looking for an opportunity to get in here, but it's not the only thing coming for the attack. Liberty sits up on the right side, but Spore Crawler out of Solar is very nicely positioned for this. Even repositioned before the Liberator can set up. So that's going to be really unfortunate for the Liberator.
Yo, on top of the Liberator, the doodad, is it a hive?
It's a Nidus worm and I think lair.
It looks like it's transforming into a hive or something. Like it's too big.
Because look, it's just the hooks are cut off. It's just the hatchery.
No, it's too big to be a hatchery.
Well, obviously it's too big to be anything. That's the scale. This is a spawning pool down here, right? Like,
Oh my god. Is
And
it?
it's just a hatchery with its like hooks kind of cut off, or a layer, one of the two. Maybe it is a hive. I don't know. Let's be honest, none of it matters. Whatever.
It looked like it was like a little transforming, is what I was saying. But I had no idea there were spawning pools up here. Why are there two spawning pools right next to each other? Whoever played this map before we got here was really dumb.
I mean, this guy built like a proxy hatchery. Oh, I guess a macro hatchery.
Well, I guess it would have been, it's probably like a Zerg colony, but still, why do you need two spawning pools? You don't. Good question.
Thank you.
Anywho, super not important. But also kind of the only thing that's been happening. The Liberator harassment did not go over so well. The medevac harassment never started, and it didn't do anything beyond that. This is kind of cool. So they're going for just a little bit of a lane drop. Why not?
Thank you.
Damn it, we overshot Zombie Grub.
I knew you would.
Mufasa, thank you for the 40 months, but you fucked it up, kid. This is cool. I can unsub. Oh, there you go. He's PC and MK Deskins 87 with a Twitch Prime sub. Should have been 1337. He'll know he was 1337 in his heart, but
Modestus.
Thank you.
all right. King continues to move around on the left side. Scans saw this army, so he's choosing to dodge past it, hoping the tanks and the Marauders would be enough at home. I don't know if they will be, though. It's a lot of Ravagers coming in on top of this. They take out the tank. They take out the Liberator. The Marauder count is gone, but 2 tanks still is a lot of damage. Marines come from the backside, so he does bring these home. Picks them up in the medevacs. He survives a little bit longer. These tanks have done a ton of damage while this has been going on.
There's the overloading of the high ground vision. There's also an Overseer, but the Lings had already killed some SCVs to start off this push. And Solar, he might start taking drone damage to a bit of a drop at his third base. He might just win the game over here.
If I recall, Keen fell off the marble map and died, Zombie Grub.
Yeah, so?
And Solar advanced on past him. I'm just saying.
So these are the top 4 of the marbles.
We may need to re-roll the bones, reread the marbles. But
Okay.
memes aside, though, guys, Solar is doing incredibly well. His supply doesn't tell you that. Let me tell you that. Solar is winning this game.
Yeah. Good old-fashioned 1-1 attack that Keen was not prepared for. He had some good tank positioning. He had a decent army, but it all wasn't together. Now he's gonna lose the game. Now.
I'm surprised the thank you alert's still going. I thought that would have been over by now. Although maybe that was the last one? Question mark? Praying it is.
And you're done, kid.
You know what's great though? Today was the big drop-off day. Like it was this day last month was the last time we had a big day of gifted subs. So keeps us afloat a little bit longer, Monty. All right, Solar takes game number 1. But now we see how map 2 shapes up. We did skip commercials, so if this takes a long time to get the lobby up, guys, we might just insert the commercial break. If not, we'll wait until after this game's done. Either way, still a lot of good Korean StarCraft 2 ahead of us. As I said, we are in the semifinals. Traditionally, we cast both of the semifinals matches and the grand finals, so there is still a best of 3 and still a best of 5 still to come. Sometimes there are pictures in my Twitter feed that I just really wish weren't in my Twitter feed when I tab out to check things. I follow some people who are, they retweet some really interesting stuff. But this lobby is taking a few moments to go up. So maybe I'm going to inject that commercial now. So see you guys soon. All right, we're back into the semifinals. It's game number 2. Someone says in chat they can't wait for the ZVZ finals. You have not seen enough Korean StarCraft 2. Although I would say this would be the one rare candidate quality where Solar and Rogue might just advance to the finals, but it would be a welcome change to the regular TVTs we have in the Olimoleague. But that statement aside, we are in the top right with the blue Zerg. He's up 1-0. It's Solar.
I like my TPTs.
Thank you.
In the bottom left is the red Terran. He is keen.
I got no problem with TVTs. We just have them all the time, so it is a welcome change once in a while to see the other side of things and get weird matchups, hopefully like Dark and Sue. But Zesty Scanner just gifted a sub to Andy Christ. Andy Christ. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Thank you. So no early pool gas for Solar this time. It may have thrown Keen off a little bit, but it wasn't really the point we're talking about. I would say Keen's opener is what threw me off. And well, I've never done that opener myself, either the Hellion version or just what Keen did. I feel like it's probably not like an ideal build to do no damage with, you know? Like a 3cc off of a factory is an ideal build to not do any damage. You don't care. You're doing like an equally impressive macro thing. But I mean, that also might not have been the problem, as Keen did just simply have his units in the wrong position for that 1/1 Roach attack.
Well,
it sucks.
it was still really interesting watching Solar go for fast Overlord speed, because unless you're doing like an all-in that brings Queens and an Overlord across the map, like typically you don't go for Overlord speed like that anymore. It used to be a really common trend for a while, but I don't know, it's just kind of, I feel like for Solar he had a very clear plan right from the get-go to have gone for that blindly so quickly.
And then it did help him initiate the Roach attack, so that even if Keen wasn't already out of position, he was even further out of position.
Yeah,
it was like 16 Marines and the 2 medevacs that were late, and then there was like 2 Marauders and 5 Marines dealing with the Lings on top. So, you know, all that combined together on the high ground with tanks, and that might be a very easy hold.
Right, the difference of getting those Curse of Biles off or not, whether you have high ground vision, but... Alright, so this game around, I mean... There's nothing to force a scout, but it's just noteworthy that Solar didn't go for just a blind quick Overlord speed again. I guess feeling better about a map like Blue Shift. It's a pretty standard map.
Yeah, I do wonder. It might have been a map thing. You know, you don't want to be surprised on such a short map, whereas maybe Blue Shift is like, I got 2-3 more seconds. I also wonder how much of it was for that future plan of dropping the Lings with his attack. We might not see it again in this series. And it's just a best of 3, so I'll actually say that we won't see it again. Maybe this is a best of 5, and we had Cerulean Falls, something like that, come up next, but that's a guarantee. It is loser's pick, and we might just see it if Keen wasn't the one that was down. I think if Solar loses this game, then we go to... I always want to say Acid Plant when I mean to say Parasite, and I don't know why. I guess because they're both...
Acid Plant, it's just picked a lot more.
Well, it's not that. It's not even in this map pool. It's just that in my mind, it's like acid, parasite, green, goo, kind of gross. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Also, just side note, guys, to the game at hand, I want to give a big shout out to my co-caster, Zombie Grub, today. Because while you don't have to hear all these muted coughs, she does. Because I can't mute it to her, unfortunately. So, thank you for dealing with this.
Did you just
That's good. I am at this point where I've actually given myself a bit of a headache from coughing so hard, so I'm kind of calming down a little bit, but my head really hurts.
Yeah, I've been there. It sucks. Very nice holds. I think it was nice of Keen to get that queen with the focus fire, because otherwise he wasn't going to get anything.
You know what else really sucks?
What's that?
A vacuum. Gotcha.
You got me. That was a good one.
No, what really sucks though is Keen, for a brief moment there had an opportunity, I think, to kill a lot more drones, but just that wrong angle on the Hellion attack. It sucks so much. They can be such devastating units, or sometimes just the worst at those run-bys, and that poke up there was almost very deadly for Solar.
Yeah. All right, double engineering bay, barracks, no super quick tank. Oh, there it is. Probably gonna swap that starport off for the barracks, and we got ourselves a macro game. Bio versus Lane Baneling. Hydra probably. Trillion Falls is the muta map, or so we've seen. Ooh, another Widowmine drop going to the north. I think it was barely scouted by the Zergling, but Solar did not see it, or thinks that his defense in the main is already good enough.
Yeah, I mean, he had really good success with this earlier, but a really big distraction with a much more committed Hellion force. However, it's over too quickly, and Solar's given plenty of time to look back up here now.
Now, the Spore Crawler is not in position if it dropped over there, but then what's the point of that? He wants to drop in the mineral line, and if the Widowmines don't get a good drone shot, then maybe they would have gotten a good Ling shot, but they don't even do that. They get like 5 Lings. And the medevac is not gonna... And then he queens on third base. Not gonna survive. Nope.
Oh, this is so bad for Keen. If that medevac got out alive, we can start rationalizing the attack, but losing that on top of this, plus the Hellions, this has just been all around pretty bad for Keen here in game 2.
And he never swapped... I mean, he didn't swap out the starport, so he goes for like an immediate follow-up of 2 medevacs, which, you know, that could be a lot of pressure, but they're not full medevacs, and they're slightly more combat shields too, so I don't even know if it was really worse, like, not swapping over the starport to get this attack in.
That poor SCV got done in by the tank.
Yeah. Well, it ended up not being too worth it. Not the medevacs are ever bad to have, it's just an option of, like, a couple more Marines or a couple faster medevacs. No. Anyways, he's already up to a ton of barracks. Already going up to 8 with his 3rd CC only just barely being like transferred to, not even fully saturated. So very fast there. Going for that over going for a second factory as well, which I gotta say I vastly prefer the second factory. So we'll see how it works out, but I don't know. It's not the most abusive map for tank pushes, I guess, but I don't know. The mass bio is a hard thing to use. It's not like if you're coming from Wings of Liberty where Marine King always did mass bio and you're like, what are you talking about? It's totally legit. Not so much. I think Zerg players really learned, and also Banelings got a buff too, so they have higher health, but they just learned like mass amount of Banelings can do a lot and decent creep spread can do a lot. And
Well, you don't...
we're all good at that now.
I think on averages, creep spread is, if we were to look at any of the best, like the best Zerg players in Wings of Liberty, their creep spread is probably pretty weak compared to what most players do nowadays.
Yes,
So-
that is a skill thing as well as the way they change creep.
Yeah, so I think just use the spread a lot slower, recede a lot slower, but I think that is a big part of why the game has turned into being bad for bio, because you just have a lot of, like a Zerg, you just typically are moving faster more than you ever did in the past.
Yeah. Now, it might take a while for Solar to recognize that there's not a lot of tanks. Like, you don't really get a ton of overseers through an army once you get past the whole, like, oh, they're going bio and they're on 3 bases. But he's got a lot of creep spread that whenever Keen does decide to really push, he's going to be like, oh, that's a lot of Marauders. That's, you know, that's a bio ball right there. And, I mean, he's already got a decent number of Banelings. He's also going to have better upgrades. He's already on his way to Hive. We'll see how this goes. But only a couple of tanks firing. Those Banelings are going to connect. It's just a matter of how well do they connect.
Oh, the depots are down. He might have even had to waste them if he was paying a little more attention. He realizes last second, but last second even, as I continue to not be able to speak English here. The SCVs are split up. They're all just going to die. The attack on the right side of the map doesn't go much better. He tries to bait the attack into the tanks, but the tanks aren't covered by the Marines, so Solar comes in, and he just rolls for the win. Keen totally messed this up on 2 fronts, and Solar, I mean, it's not like Keen goofed up because he's a bad player. Solar took advantage of 2 situations and really shined through here as the Zerg.
Total anti-timing for Keen as well. That was as the countdown of his 2-2 was starting, so he still had like 15 seconds. Great grab there by Solar, who initially you could see was kind of like, well, I'm going to go off for creep, this is worth it, and was like, yeah, totally worth it. Gonna go for another huge run by, and Keen can't really do much about this. Like,
His wall's not even back up.
yeah, exactly. There's a sensor tower, there's not even a 4th base that could alert him initially, and there's too much creep spread, I think, for him to initiate a what could have been a base trade. Like, there's too much. Banelin's gonna get good connections.
They don't even need good connections. Like, just any connections here are fine. He does lose a lot of Zerglings through the process of this, but that's because a lot of them are on the other side of the field, not supporting the main army. 3rd base is totally screwed, frankly. The Lings aren't even... He's bringing a lot of them back home. GG. The Marbles, excuse me, Solar will win and advance on to the grand finals. But of course, we have the other semifinals to get into next and see how that one plays out. That's going to be Rogue, who we got to watch earlier, beat Gumiho, now face off against Bunny, Titan EX1's Bunny. And you know what? Last year around this time, I think Bunny beats Rogue every single time. But Bunny's not where he used to be. However, Rogue's also not the Titan of Zerg he was either. This is a tough one to predict who wins.
I'm going to go with Rogue. He seems to be, well, actually, the games versus Gumiho were the cleanest. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win.
I think instead of a commercial break, we need to run a prediction of who wins this game.
You do you.
I'm gonna quickly just remove all this. Rogue and Bunny. Excuse me, guys. I'm still dying here. What's a short map here we can run this? Because we only have like a minute to do it.
Fracture.
Taking
Yeah.
flight. All right, we're even for the sucks joke. All right, Rogue and Bunny. Marble 1v1 to predict who wins the semifinals. Forget the ghost ball; it doesn't matter. I'm being invited to the lobby now. Shh. It's a quick map. Weird.
Yeah, it's already. There's people already in there.
This is a pretty quick map. We'll see who wins. I'm gonna join the game though, so I don't purposely hold this up. And we might just skip the map intro for the prediction, guys. Now, I still believe that Rogue's gonna win this whole tournament. Oh, cool. What? An error occurred while trying to join the lobby. Thanks, Blizzard.
I wonder if this ever happens in Overwatch.
You know, no, but you know what's funny? This whole Blizzard's a small indie company meme has really carried well over to World of Warcraft. Battle for Azeroth is the new expansion, right? Shortened to BFA, and everyone's just calling it the beta for Azeroth. Like,
there's a lot of
there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems, Zombie Grove.
Right. So when the Mike Morheim steps down threat on Team Liquid, it is turned into has Blizzard always sucked, or has Blizzard sucked for the last 10 years, or is it, now going to suck because he stepped down?
Oh, Bunny just died, by the way.
Oh.
We're skipping intros.
Okay, so I'm going to keep talking. So everyone is talking about how much of a failure BFA was, and then like the stock prices and blah, blah, blah. But I have no idea about WoW. So explain to me, is it just a lot of bugs? Is it imbalance? Is it actually one of the worst launches of an expansion for WoW, or are they just being over exaggerating?
No, you know what's funny? The actual launch itself was smooth. There was no actual issues there. By the way, Rogue did not fall off the map, guys. He did finish the race. I just had to swap back to the in-game screen. So Rogue is going to win this series, is my prediction, and so is the Marbles. And we'll talk WoW, we'll talk BFA, we'll talk about that stuff in a second. Let's get the intros out of the way first, because spawning here in the top left, we have the blue Terran. It's Bunny. Not Team Liquid's Bunny, because someone's going to ask that in chat. If they do, shame them.
It's literally on Clan Titan X1. In the bottom right, as the red Zerg, he is Janair's Rogue.
You know what's a dick move, though?
What?
Bunny, as in Team Liquid's Bunny, had not played like any StarCraft in years.
Yeah.
And then, was it him, or was it this Bunny that played in the Penthouse party?
Oh, is this funny?
It was this. Okay, so never mind then. I was gonna say if it was the other Bunny and he came out just to play the Penthouse party, I'm like, oh, you're ruining it for everybody, dude. We just acclimated to the fact that you're gone.
No, I think if it was him, he would have been there. Is my guess. Why else would you play in it? But no, I thought you were gonna bring up in Montreal. Like he was like kind of like watching Montreal, and he made tweets, and some of the tweets were about casting, and I was like, you don't tweet very much. You're kind of out of StarCraft, and the reason you come back and start tweeting is to call out casters when we, in a hurry, accidentally say a counter attack instead of a run by. Come on, mate. Come on. That wasn't about me.
Maybe you could learn to take criticism better, Zombie Grub.
It wasn't about me, anyways. I'm very specific. I try not to make that mistake, but it's one of those things where he obviously wasn't being he wasn't being a dick. Like that's very like
Yeah,
that's
I was making
criticism,
jokes.
right? Like it was just a joke, but I was like, this is what you're gonna use your Twitter for when you come back. I'm watching you.
By the way, we got some messages in chat that are really nice. First comes out, it was this Tomes14. Shout out to Graham and Jess for doing all this. You guys rock. It's weird to use our first names, but they are displayed on the out-of-game overlay, so I'm not going to fault you for that. Thank you for the kind words and for joining us this morning. Then we got Why Not Greg, who is from, I'm going to be honest, guys. Are you listening? Are you, dear BaseTradeTV fans who've been here for years and months, are you listening right now? I want you guys to know you suck. I go to Sky's chat, and I am treated like a normal, very nice human being over there where they don't have clips on commands to a bot to make fun of me. These guys are so nice to me. I really love it over there. Anyways, one of them, Why Not Greg in chat, comes in just to say, Happy Thanksgiving, bro. Maple syrup greater than table syrup. And that's where I'm just going to go ahead and take back what I said. You've ruined it for everybody because Aunt Jemima's is the best. I stand by this argument.
I'm so glad that you know what's up. Did you celebrate? Did you get like a meal to go that was Thanksgiving themed?
We're here for that. Yeah, so I was casting the NA qualifiers. Terminator tips or cheers bits to say happy Canadian Thanksgiving, and I had to go Google when Canadian Thanksgiving was because I did not realize it was this weekend, past weekend, excuse me.
I mean, I just saw a bunch of tweets because they follow so many damn Canadians. Y'all such lovely folk.
The thing is, I just, living on the online world, holidays aren't really a thing to me a lot of the time. Big ones like Christmas,
sense.
sure, but
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, if it wasn't for me living, well, I guess it's two parts. If I wasn't living at home and it wasn't such a popular holiday, like you just are bombarded with it when you go to the grocery store, I think I'd forget about Thanksgiving because it's not a special holiday to me, and it's also on a random day. It's like the last Thursday of November or something. I don't know. You know? And I'm skipping it this year. Skipping it. Going to Germany. Anyhow.
That's right. You guys have Thanksgiving weirdly late in the year.
Well, you have it weirdly early. I mean, why would you have Thanksgiving and then right after, Halloween?
Why would you have Thanksgiving? They're right after Christmas.
No, that's a different month. October, Halloween, and Thanksgiving makes no sense. Boom. Can't retort to that, can you? All right then.
All right
Kick
then.
that off the zombie grub.
4 drones go down. 5. Trying to make it a little bit more, but these Hellions are pretty low, so unfortunately it's not going to get much more. 2 more Hellions come in, though, and ooh. Not as good. I take back my ooh. It was premature.
One in the main is 15, and it's not being one in the main. I was like, who's gonna remember what's there first? And it was, in fact,
Queens are so good. You know what they need to do? They need to give Queens more range, Zombie Grub. If
That
only
won't
Queens
affect-
had more range.
Can you just, I mean, it was one thing for, that's not repaired enough. Oh.
No, he doesn't have the surface area to get 3 SCVs on it, but he can hold position, which will help.
Good hold position.
Yes.
They still get through. They're gonna get a good scout. Okay, woo, good thing you're on this side of the map, Bunny. Good thing Terran has that RNG, isn't it? Anyways, I was gonna say, can you, like, it was one thing to imagine +1 range to the Queen affecting the game so much that we had Druid and Kester for 2 years. It's another to imagine that it really has affected the entire game for 8 years, basically. Because it was like a 2010 buff, I'm pretty sure.
Actually, it was, I remember specifically when I got into casting, it was a hot topic issue because it was still new. It was still fresh.
Actually, it's probably 2011. Whatever. Almost 8 years. Go on.
Well, it's just like the whole dynamic of Hellions being able to do anything. But the thing is crazy is like, Queens are just such a solid early game defensive unit. I've got no balance complaints about them. But it is insane looking at how effective they are versus like every other race's like early game defense, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just like, it's one of those things where they were at one point actually a support unit that was just used for larva injecting. They're macro mechanic support unit. And now they are definitely more than that. And whether that's a good or bad thing is really dependent on your, idea of balance versus design, fun factor stuff. It's personal, but you cannot deny that you cannot change the Queen without devastating side effects to the Zerg.
Blizzard gave the Queen a +1 unfair advantage, some range privilege, and all the other StarCraft units were like, me too.
I don't know why you're saying this.
No,
I'm a
stop. I don't know.
capacitor.
Yeah, I don't know. I said it, and then I'm like, what am I
I
saying?
don't know what you expect from me.
Yep, I dial it back, reel it back in, put that in the fucking VCR, rewind that shit.
Oh boy. Be kind, rewind.
Please be kind, rewind. Yeah. God, you remember CDs, like how revolutionary it was when you could just like rewind a CD, super easy.
Vaguely. I wasn't really into music when there was a transfer of cassette versus CD. So.
What?
What?
You know what? Never mind. We're just gonna let that one go. That's a whoosh, is what that is. But
Well, you said rewind, but I thought you were talking about the fact that you could just play any song from a CD instead of having to rewind a cassette tape.
you can't rewind a CD. That was the joke. But
I thought you just meant it in terms of like, there's no other better word for it.
the other thing, they actually had
Comparison.
CD rewinders. My dad had one of these as a joke. It's like a gimmick thing, and it's just like a CD holder. But
Like one of those like fake boxes, like a pet petter.
yeah, you know what? It was the original downloadmoreram.com is what it was. All right, this double drop down here that I was trying to point out does get caught pretty early, so unfortunately, Rogue is quick to the response. And Bunny is not making wrong moves. He's even got a fake medevac set up here. Hoping to bait him out of position. This is kind of cool, but it's not actually going to get him much. It does draw the army completely away from this base, so he goes back to drop once again, maybe? No, he's just in full retreat. I think that would have been really cool if that would actually be the drop that got the damage done after the fake out.
Yeah, it was one of those. There was a drop that got away with damage because of the fake drop, and that was the creep spread cleanup. So is it like, was it, you know, if he had lost any of those medevacs, it wouldn't have been worth it. As it is worth it because nothing actually happened except creep spread died, which is always a good thing for the Terran, even though it's easily replaced by creep spreading queens. Might have minerals. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. You know, the thing is, on a map like Fracture 2, it doesn't take much creep spread to get across the map, and he's already got 50% of it covered. I talked about this in a previous series, but I'll bring it up again. Like, creep spread isn't map control, but creep spread is a good way to measure how much map control the player has, because they've got the freedom to keep placing all this creep down. And while Bunny is actively trying to clean some of it up, it's just so difficult to keep Rogue down without doing any actual damage. The pressure here from him, I mean, admirable, A for effort, but it's not actually accomplishing much.
But it looks like, and a lot of Terrans seem to be kind of accepting this type of game on Fracture. Not because Zergs are particularly good on the map or something like that, which, I don't know, maybe is part of that, I don't know. But more importantly, I think, is that not so much about the tank pushes around 2-2 or 150 supply or just 2 tanks, like, not so much that. You just wait until you have a almost maxed out army with inevitably 2-2, and you just push. And the Zerg player is actually just kind of going like, how do I even combat this? Because there's no easy like surrounds even when you're in the middle of the map. I like what Bunny's. I like that. I think he would control it if he continues just, as I'm saying, like keep your army in the middle of the map and say like, you come to me. They don't go and creep because that's just asking for a bad time. But you clean up creep and yeah, you force them to come to you.
Well, the sensor tower will be nice as long as it survives and doesn't get wasted. Ricky Soggs, thank you for the 3-month sub. He says, when's the last time you used a CD riff? Right now, you can CD's nuts. Hatchery gets killed, not canceled here on the right side. I guess that hatchery had a bad case of ligma. Goes down pretty quick.
Shut up. So this is like, I think the third Terran I've seen play like this. Keen kind of did it first, and I thought it might have been like accidental because he got absolutely shreked in the first like 7 minutes of the game.
I'm so happy you said that just now, just by the way. Put that on record.
You're welcome. But then like I think Innovation did it, and now obviously Bunny's doing it. And I mean, this wasn't exactly ideal because half of his army was tangoing with Lings rather poorly. This is not what he was hoping would happen.
That was almost I do like what Rogue attempted to do, though. One thing Rogue's pretty well known for is his multi-pronged attacks, and coming from 2 different angles would have been sweet. So while maybe Bunny was tangoing poorly with the other Zerglings, he did keep them from collapsing on the tanks at that pivotal moment.
Oh no, he's going too deep on a creep. Oh, I don't know about this. Yeah, back away, buddy. Back away, buddy.
You know, Marauders soak up some of the banelings, so still not too bad of a trade for now. But I agree, he is getting a little, like, perhaps overconfident from that previous win of a fight. Like, he's got a pretty nice army, and his supply is good, but it's also the type of supply that gets killed in one bad engagement.
I'm really happy he cleaned up this creep to the north because it looked like he was about to move in even further with that just there. I think one of the reasons this works out particularly well on this map is because with one center tower, he didn't even need the second one. With one center tower and the size of the map, you can deal with run-bys easily, which is sometimes the Zerg's only option when they have no better surround of the main engagement.
Okay, that's a really late pull of the SCVs here too, because you got the alert, right? The attack goes off.
Oh no. Oh
You
no.
didn't see they burrowed. Oh, Big Yeet, no.
Did he?
Does he
Did
know?
he see it?
Does
Did
he?
know?
He scans. Oh, thank goodness he scans. For a moment, I really thought he didn't see it. I mean, it was a really quick move at a rogue to burrow the banlings.
That was, yeah, and he had just like sent Lings over to the left side. That was almost a disaster. Now, Bunny's still gonna have to deal with this. So what Rogue's doing now with the run bys is not so much like pulling the entire army back as it is just making sure it doesn't continue forward, because he's got his way to Broodlords, which was, I think, not the only answer, but certainly the best answer to the position that Bunny held. And Bunny did not appropriately like scout that or think about that. There's no anti-air. I mean, even a couple of Vikings would have actually dealt with this.
It's tough because you say that statement and everyone at a glance is like, but there's so many Marines. And like, yes, they're technically can shoot up, but they're not really ranged enough to take the fight he wants to. Now that the Broodlords overextend, he can go for this, but up at the top of the ramp, not a chance in hell. Especially on Creep Bailey's rolling from 3 different sides. Buddy gets massacred. GG. Oh, that was like an Xbox 360, dude, because he just fucking walked away. Rogue, game number 1.
I think Rogue, from like the 3 weeks ago that I first saw a game like that on a Fracture, I think Rogue is just learning to deal with it. He just did that pretty masterfully.
Yeah. I don't remember. Is Rogue Korean or Sugandese?
Excuse me? What?
Never mind. I'm sorry. Twitch chat. 2 minutes behind. I'm getting caught up in bad jokes. Guys, it's been a pretty... I don't know what's going on with me this morning. I'm having a lot of fun, frankly. So thank you all for joining me. I'm sorry I'm kind of all over the place. I've also not had any kind of caffeine or energy drink in like 3 weeks, and I'm drinking some G Fuel, and it's basically cocaine for me right now. I don't know what it is. At any rate, we are waiting for Bunny to pick the next map. It's been 27 minutes since our last ad break, so we will play some commercials here very briefly. Thank you guys for watching. Hello to Apollo, the cutest cat cameo we could ask for. We'll see you guys in 2 minutes. All right, folks, I've got the wrong score. Don't look at that. There we go. We are getting into game number 2. Best of 3 continues here for the semifinals. If you're just joining us, of course, we have the grand finals, the best of 5 still to come. $200 up for grabs in these little weekly cups, which is pretty cool stuff because this tournament is not funded by any kind of sponsors. It's all crowdfunded by you, the fans. So, with that being said, let's hop into game. In the bottom left, we have the pool firsting, but not in a cheesy way, Blue Zerg Rogue.
And top right, as the Red Terran, we have Titan EX1's Bunny.
Bunny. Good stuff that game. I think, honestly, hubris and maybe a little bit of greed got the best of him there towards the end of the game. I think it was really evident after that fight around the sensor tower, too. Like, he started pushing out way too far immediately. Like, really overeager to take advantage of a small win like that.
He might have also just figured it was too far gone. The only thing he had going in that game, well, not the only thing. How to say, like, the lack of creep spread to Rogue's base was promising for any future attacks, and he had a fourth, and he had production. He just didn't have anti-Broodlord production. And on a small map like that, you gotta figure, even if you had retreated, they're gonna use their Broodlords fairly quickly, and in higher numbers probably too, within like 20 seconds. So even if you retreat, it's only a matter of time, and you're desperately getting out Vikings. You hadn't dealt any damage to their economy. You just probably feel overwhelmed, and like that was supposed to be a pre-Broodlord timing, and since they got Broodlords, you just kind of tap out, which is kind of lame. I think there was a longer game there, but maybe not by very much. If he doesn't move in, obviously. That was the whole... I might have forgot to say that. If he didn't move in and lose his entire army, there was a longer game behind that.
By the way, amazing sub coming in. 15 months running, it's Namshar, and he combos the Rats Ata. Thank you very much. That second half of the emote, though, looks a little garbage. It probably comes from a very low-quality streamer, but I appreciate the first half. Thank you for the sub, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Da Berserker for 6 months.
I feel
Here's
like
the 6 more.
with the way he has his caps, it's got to be like a really aggressive Berserker.
You kind of just sound like you're talking to a cat, though, as well. Like,
Who's a good Berserker? Yes, you are. Come here.
this is really bad news for Bunny, who once again got the better end of the bases for Terran as his reactor stopped the Lings from going up. But, okay, he does have a Reaper to pull back, but that was a long delay in the command center.
I gotta go full weep for this one for just one brief moment. So for the 4 people who actually like this series enough to understand the reference, like, who's a good Berserker? Who killed Caster of Black? Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Sounds like a spoiler to me.
Well, it's not really a spoiler. It never actually happened. I'm just making it up, but...
Oh, okay. Well then. No problem. Third TC is already on the way for Bunny. We did get a starport, but a little bit later, and we'll see what he gets from it. Rogue won't know.
So I'll go on the record, by the way. Rin is a trash tier waifu.
Sure. I don't know if you saw my tweet like 2 days ago about like what anime should I rewatch, and then
Oh, what'd you end up going with?
a little bit of everything actually. I watched Dragon Ball Z. I bought like the first season of Kai, which is actually like 6 seasons of regular Dragon Ball Z.
I voted for watch something new, by the way.
Well, yeah, so most people voted for DBZ, but then a lot of people voted for watch something new, which I didn't really want to do.
Why put it as an option?
Because people were going to comment that anyways.
I know. I'll bait them into winning the poll, so I don't have to do it.
They didn't win
Excellent.
the poll anyways. I think GBZ ended up winning the poll. But anyway.
Dragon. Rock the Dragon. Dragon Ball Z.
It really bothers me that they changed the voice actors. Just side note, but that doesn't matter so much. I did end up starting Fear Dragon's anime that he sent me, and then I did end up watching like 8 episodes of My Hero Academia.
Oh, did you like it?
I mean, I like it, but I can't just binge it because it's too anime. Even though it's a good anime, it's
too anime.
There's still a ton of like parts where I actually skip by 10 seconds because they're about to do something cool, and then they have to like explain their whole thought process.
You better
And I'm
not
like,
be skipping past any Deku or Bakugo. I swear to
Of course
God,
I
Zombie
am.
Grab.
Of course I am. I just watched the one where they were like, you know, the two teams are facing off and there was like a nuclear bomb and it was a practice run. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And then at the end, when he like actually does the final move to like win the goal, take rid
You know
of
what?
get rid of Luke, I was like, go get on with it.
This is one of those times I wish we were talking about StarCraft 2 so I didn't have to hear this trash coming out of your mouth.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's too long. Doing that thing, they're like monologuing. And the amount of time that they have to
Because they go back, there's a connection between them.
internal monologue, the amount of time they have to internal monologue when they're about
Oh.
to punch each other and they're literally
just-
in the punching act is just insane.
I'm getting so mad right now, dude. You sit there willing to watch filler and Dragon Ball Z, but not like emotional ties in My
Okay.
Hero Academia.
I knew someone was gonna bring it up, and it makes sense that it was you as we watched this totally normal game happen, by the way. We're not missing anything.
We
And
might in a
that
moment,
is,
though,
I
actually.
don't have nearly as much emotional connection as I did when I was watching Dragon Ball Z from 8 years old to like 15 years old. If I watch Dragon Ball Z for the first time now, of course I'd be like, what the shit?
You gotta learn to love Zombie Grub. That's what you gotta do. You gotta learn to let yourself love something new.
Whatever, man.
but as
TLDR,
a-
I like it, but not love it.
As well, I'm glad you checked it out. While this goes on, though, as I said, something was going to go down. And it was these medevacs. However, we saw from the mini map, Rogue had already like been very aware this was going to be coming. This happens on Lost and Found a lot. The double spore crawlers on the edge just completely shuts down a drop before it can even get going. The Queens are not in position, but that's okay. Looks like the Hellions managed to get a couple of drones over here, but 5's not that much when Rogue's sitting on like 78 in the first place.
I mean, there really hasn't been much going on. Yes, there could have been a lot of talk about like the very intricate, like why do they cancel a building? But like as far as actual damage, there wasn't very much. This double drop was really the first thing to try and set a pace, even though it didn't really do anything. It's also literally being cleaned up as the full medevac goes down. Combat
Yeah,
shows
that
people
stings.
do this. And Bunny, he's not even. The thing is, he's not even actually putting much into it. You know, 2 medevac drops. You don't want to lose both. That does suck. But you're getting a 4 CC on location right now. You're gonna let things go.
Well, I think one of the big things to just take away from that first game, translating here to game 2, was realizing that Rogue was going to be on top of drops. You weren't going to catch him split, confused, and not sure where to respond to, because it's Rogue. And as he deflected everything well in game 1, it looks like he is similarly doing so here in game 2. And Bunny is not finding any better drops. What's kind of worse is he's actually getting worse out of this. Losing that medevac was pretty bad. Losing a medevac full of units makes it even worse.
It does. I feel like we're gonna see a similar game to last. Oh, but I don't think. Well, maybe not exactly similar, but similar is fine enough. But it's not a small map where run-bys easy to deal with, or like the push gets like every single step is suddenly a scarier push. Like Lost and Found is such a different map. So I don't know if trying to play toe-to-toe with Rogue on macro is really the best idea. Just not even like a balance thing, just like that is where Rogue does his best. He gets up to 93 drones, good lord. And then either makes 1 billion Banelings or 24 Broodlords.
Wait, what happened here?
Accidental cancel or Ling tapped it? I'm not sure.
That's a bit of an issue for Bunny, because having that finished up would be a lot easier for him to not have to worry about leaving units warranted out in the map like this. Expensive things like a medevac. They can be picked up by Hydra when you just have the sensor tower catch this stuff instead. So a little bit odd, a little bit awkward. Either way, top side, it's got responses on it. Rogue side, he's got Hydras and Banes in the south, Lings and Banes in the north. Bunny, I just don't want him to lose too much to trying to do this poke. The creep spread's also another problem. Again, more of a representation of map control than what is the cause and effect for it, but with all this creep spread out here and a lot of live tumors, we've even got these awkward queens. I don't know what they're doing. Bunny's been given, Rogue has been given the freedom to get to pretty much everything he wants back on his side of the field. He's got a hive, he's got a spire. We'll probably see more of the same of what ended Bunny there in game 1.
It is different. You know, it's similar in the way that there was really no rush to do an engagement. but it's different because Bunny is now accepting the late game. Like, not just we're going to go to 4 bases, but 4 bases even quicker, and then Ghosts, Triple Starport, Liberators, like everything across the board. And Lost and Found is a good map for Terran to try and play this way against a Zerg. It is, again, just going to the whole road thing. So maybe he doesn't win with 1,000 Banelings because there's a decent tank spread and so on, but he will, I think, make the stronger choices to kill a Terran who's turtling.
Rogue is also, as we saw in game 1, someone very good at attacking from multiple angles. Lost and Found in the middle of the map has plenty of those. So Bunny home defensively, yeah, he's got some good chokes to work on his side, but pushing in the middle of the map like this is just open angles from all different sides.
Yes, that is definitely one of the reasons it can be scary to do this. You aren't, honestly, at this point, when you add on 5 command centers and then like 3 extra just because you have enough minerals, you're not engaging. I think you're just actually playing this game where you say the Zerg has to come to me. There is no good opportunity, I think, for Bunny to move out in the middle of the map, or he will be surrounded for the reasons you were just talking about. And even this counts. He was like trying to extend the way he could turtle, how much he could defend, and I'm not sure that's a good idea. It kind of turns on Rogue, I guess, at the end. He loses Hydras, but he just took out a bunch of tanks. I feel like this is just, it's also, if you just look at this like strategically, it's just like a worthless, why try and cover that middle area that Bunny's trying to do? Like what, how does that help you except try and like surprise Rogue by being there?
So Bunny's smart enough to not take a bad tactical fight where you don't need to, like you're describing. I think though, what is actually getting maybe caught up here, and there's a lack of a better phrase for this, but there's a little bit of a fuck you factor to this. Like his creep spread's been so aggressive and so difficult to deal with. For Bunny, it's a little victory, but it might be a big one mentally. You're like, okay, I finally beat the creep spread back in one part of the map, and I'm gonna keep this part of the map.
It might be. It also, like, really thinking on it, if he could secure this next platform, this is the high grounds. So Lost and Found is already kind of cool because it has high ground, like, it's really hard to say high ground because it's such a big area of high ground, but there are ramps going up to the places Bunny is trying to defend. And then this third is always, or fourth, whatever, is always defended by a choke.
You know what you could say actually instead? It's over, Anakin.
It's over, exactly. If Bunny secures it and then secures the chokes that lead to the high ground to begin with, I could see it. I just feel like it's really difficult, basically. That's what I feel like it's like. So I don't know if it's worth it if he's gonna like waste minerals and gas trying to. But you know what?
He's working so hard to clean up this creep. This is so funny.
But he's doing a decent job, right?
Yeah, he needs to.
Right
like this.
Now,
this isn't laughable because it's bad. It's just like it's taken him so long to do these things.
yeah. Right now, Rogue is just, he's starved for gas. And while the bases seem comical because he can easily replace the hatcheries, he doesn't have sufficient gas money.
Ghosts are out for the snipes. Broodlord gets taken down. Liberator Ranger's in play too, but man, he's gonna need a lot more snipes where that came from. 10 Broodlords on top of this massive army. Liberator setup, they'll help a little, but I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like Rogue's still got the better army for this one. Couple blinding clouds, couple parasitic bombs, you name it, and these Broodlings can cause friendly fire for the rest.
Yeah, I think there's too many drops, perhaps. There's no meat to this. Like, there's a lot of like dessert items. We have those powerful liberators. We had a couple of ghosts, but only a couple. No tanks because he had lost most of them defending that middle area I was criticizing.
He's not repairing the planetary, which he really needs to do to hold on to this. That planetary can hold off Broodlords for a long time.
I think he's done though. Like, the Broodlords don't have to stay there.
Oh god, these Marines find a bailing nest and a bailing nest.
Unfortunately, Lings might just be enough, and yeah, he does send back some units because the units on Bunny's side of the map just have no contest. There's too many Broodlords with too many chance fuses. That is too much.
Well, people want to know if Bunny ever finished that sensor tower. Tell you what, guys, doesn't matter. Command center dies. I mean, the thing is, the Viking count. This feels like a mech player gets caught off guard by air. Like it's a responsive thing, not an advanced in advance thing. I think he had started making ghosts, not knowing what he'd be going up against, but it's a good coverall, right? You start
Yeah.
mass-producing Vikings once you see the Broodlords, and he saw the Broodlords where they're at his doorstep. So all this comes down way too late for Bunny. He clearly knew what he needed to do, but he lost sight of the long game. He focused on things like creep spread, which you do need to do, but perhaps a little too much.
I think that's really the most efficient analysis of this game, is that he focused so much on like what was still, what is weird to say, but is like mid-game problems. It's like you're old now, Bunny. Like focus on just enjoying your retirement, which in this case was turtling on 5 bases.
By the way, folks, this now sets up for a best of 5 ZVZ Grand Finals, something we do not see too often in Korea. We see ZVZ all the time everywhere else, but in Korea specifically, it's kind of rare. As we mentioned, there's some top dogs. You've got Dark, you got Rogue, you got Solar, Leanox doing pretty well lately. Impact's kind of still around, but realistically, a lot of the time, Terran prevails in the Olimoleague. So a ZVZ Finals is kind of rare. Kind of cool. I'm hoping for some weird, crazy games. But I think we are off the front page now. So what's cool is while we did rise to the 4,000 mark with the front page, we have managed to keep about 3,000 people. At least 3,300 according to my dashboard. So if you guys are going to take off because the game's done and you don't really care about anything else, thank you for checking out StarCraft 2 today. I hope you enjoyed it while you were here. I know that the channel's a little bit goofier and different than what you might see on a professional broadcast level, but we are BaseTradeTV, no matter how big it gets, it's still grassroots at its core. So thank you guys for joining us. This isn't some big company behind it. It is just friends enjoying StarCraft together, and you guys get to watch with us. So hit that follow button if you haven't already, and we'll go to commercials, and we'll see you guys for the grand finals when we get back.
I'm here, I'm your statue. Your heart is a magnet, I'm coming at you. Girl, you're my target, I'm aiming at you. You're a comet, I'm trying to catch you. We can break any rule they ever taught you. Forget about anything they ever bought you. Cause me and you don't need a lot in this world to get by. Plus you know I got you, you pull me in. I don't resist, time seems to fly but the clock doesn't tick. I crash into you, we both feel the hit. We both feel the way that our chemicals mix. And I wish that if I just keep my eyes shut, maybe this time it'll be enough. So I need the dark. Without you here, I would never see the stars. I'm headed for you. Put on the gas. I'm coming straight at you, no looking back. You are my star. We are connected, missiles directed to the high.
All right, folks, welcome back to a kind of rare matchup here on the Korean server. We see way more PvPs, we see way more TVTs. We rarely get a taste of ZVZ, but we have one today for the finals of the Olimoleague. In the top right, he won the marble races twice in a row. I'm going to choose to believe that means he wins the grand finals here. It's Jinair's Rogue.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, he is Solar.
Also, thank you, Ire Jirai, for the 33 months. He says, morning, all you lovely people. And Zkovi, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub on top of that. I gotta say, honestly, it's been kind of a slow day, except Monty, who came in to bomb it with those subs earlier, which was really cool. So while I'm not here pushing for subs or donations and not begging that you guys do either, I would love those seriously follows. They're free. They don't cost you anything. Let's get that number up, guys. So please, you're not following the channel, please consider hitting that follow button. But I do want make a couple of recommendations for other Base Trade TV related things. If you guys don't know about some of the other tournaments that are going on, this is the Olimoleague. It's the Korean tournaments every Tuesday. It's been like this for 3 years. That's awesome. We've got like 5 or 4 more Ting qualifiers. I still have to do that replay cast for those that missed what happened yesterday. I was too sick. The games were covered or played out secretly. I have the replays. I plan to cast those probably not this morning, to be honest. My energy boost is quickly dissipating, so I might come back later tonight to do that. But we've got plenty of other qualifiers happening this week. On top of that, and the more important detail, though I really want to highlight and emphasize every cast until the day, is that we have the BTSL Round of 8 and the BTSL Grand Finals coming up this weekend. Now, some of you saw the Round of 8. It was a lot of fun. The free-for-all that determined the Round of 8. It was a lot of fun. It was good times. But that actual Round of 8, 4 best-of-5s, play out on Saturday the 13th, starting at 7 a.m. Pacific. So about now, but on Saturday. Then Sunday, of course, will be the playoffs, so semifinals, grand finals type thing. But I'm super, super excited to finally conclude BTSL Season 2. It's been a bit of a rough ride. It was a lot bumpier than Season 1, funny enough, even without the headache of organizing a live finals. But I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm glad that it's finally coming to an end. Specifically because all the players have been nagging me to get prize money this whole time, and they can't get it till the end of the season because we did it through Matcherino.
Well, finally gonna tie that up. We did have an interesting opener. The one nice thing about ZVZ, for anyone out there who's like, "Yo, it's ZVZ, it's gonna be so boring." Sorry about Korean ZVZ, is that it tends to be more action-packed. I think in general, some of these like more Ling-based plays, kind of like the sneakier spires, the sneakier upgrades, are just trending in the matchup. But especially in Korea, we see a lot of different compositions or all-ins. So either interesting or they don't last very long, whichever one, I guess you, if you really hate ZBZ, I suppose. That's what we're seeing here. You know, we have the fast +1 Carapace with a pretty darn fast +1 missile as well. So this is a different variation of what I think is going to be a Roach all-in eventually than I'm used to. And then Solar is going for +1 melee, which I don't know, man. I feel like Rogue has. Okay, he canceled his +1 missile, but it was like 30 seconds in. I'm taking crazy pills now. I don't know.
No, I just watched that too, and I don't know. Maybe his mind to swap over. It seems weird to do this in reverse, though.
So I think maybe he was planning on doing like a Roach all-in, but then changed his mind to do like a Ling all-in. And he is hiding it so successfully. This is exactly why Solar's sending so many Lings forward, is to see how many Lings are bulking up for... if they are bulking up, if there's roaches behind it, or if there's a bunch of Lings. Ow, that totally could have seen it if he had just pushed through, I think, and decided to leave instead.
This is odd, is what this is.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to make a reference to something, but I can't because I think it's still in spoiler territory, but I will reference this. If you guys saw the finals of the Take TV Penthouse Party, or if you didn't even see the finals, but you saw the results of the finals, I think that Solar ZVZ is in a very interesting place right now. And I'm not sure how it measures up against Rogue, and that's my thought coming into this, right? But then watching Rogue do an awkward cancel of an upgrade like that is either he made the wrong upgrade in the first place, which is a strange mistake for somebody like Rogue to do, or a really weird read to cancel and redo it into something else. Because right now, this should be Roaches versus Roaches. Instead, we actually have Mass Ling at a Solar, and frankly, a lot of Banelings and Zerglings coming out of Rogue. It's like we've gone back in time.
It was really a hard thing where I don't think Rogue really scouted very much. So it was, I think, entirely on his idea of what could happen. But I'm pretty sure that was just like him changing his mind, not a mistake. But hard to ever say. Now we have those Ling Wars, and it's no cancel. But Rogue has, or arguably, I guess, the more important he has the better upgrades. You can just say that, right? 1-1 against 1. He should technically win these fights. But he is just doing it really awkwardly. Like, his Balins are getting the greatest connections. He already lost 200 minerals. He needs that hatchery just in general because they're both going lings. And he doesn't have as many lings because they were so awkward every now and then. Like, Solar would not usually win this. 1-1 to 1. But he just did.
I'm trying to make sense of this because first off, I'm loving the crazy action, right? Watching Lings fight against Lings is always a lot of fun, but the volatility here of the Banelings falling off, and I'm just like, where did Rogue fall so far behind?
I think it really was not having all of his units together. But I didn't check to see what they started off with Ling-Baneling ratio-wise. So I can't say that 100%. It all happened so fast. Oh, jeez. I actually think that Rogue loses this game, not because he's about to be broken, but because he won't have enough injects to win Ling Wars. Well, he's broken too.
I think I was just highlighting this as we got out of the game too. Like 2 dead hatcheries not canceled. It's also 600 minerals. You can't afford that. Forget the injects, forget the queens. That's just 600 minerals. He's just straight up behind.
Yeah. I mean, so many things did not go Rogue's way, even though I think it should have. Oh well. Yeah.
Well, we've got the next game coming up as soon as Solar picks the map, or excuse me, Rogue picks the map for it. Solar now up 1-0. Maybe I really should have re-raced the marbles, dude, instead of trying to read off of old results, outdated results. They didn't have the new information that they needed to properly predict who would win.
You're so wishy-washy with these marbles, man. Like
It's not wishy-washy. It's just trying to interpret them.
Because okay, currently you were interpreting them as wins of the matches, and like one game goes in the other person's favor, and you're like, well, maybe the marbles are wrong, and I'm like, well, the match isn't over, Rifkin. Just calm down there, buddy.
Aziz, light. All right, so while my marble memes may be failing and falling apart here, one thing that's not is the resolve of these players. I don't think Rogue is going to be too bothered by this one loss, and I expect him to fully come back and bounce back into it. But it is going to be on Lost and Found for Game 2. We'll see you guys on the map. All right. Best of 5 means you've got a couple of extra games to lose. It's not so bad. Here in the grand finals in the bottom left, oops, not a point for him. Excuse me. He's actually behind at the moment. We have the Red Zerg Rogue.
In top right, as the Blue Zerg, he is Solar. Infinity Gaming Solar.
Still weird not seeing Solar on Splice. Speaking of weird team things too, I guess that's so crazy, but Patience and Fantasy just recently released from Dead Pixels, but if we're going to be honest, who kind of remembered that Dead Pixels was around in the first place?
I didn't until they picked up Fantasy, and then they let him go.
Dead Pixels was always a team that I think had a very limited lifespan to it. If you guys don't know the story, the real story behind why Dead Pixels exists in the first place, it is all thanks to Stardust on Mindsanity. Now, this is more of like a he said, she said thing, but it makes for a fun story. Allegedly, the owner of Dead Pixels had been kind of like a silent supporter monetarily of My Insanity. He went to go meet Stardust, a player he really admired, at an event. Stardust didn't say hi back to him. So at that point, he's like, well, fuck My Insanity. I'm going to make a team that's better than My Insanity. And that's why Dead Pixels picked up like all of these crazy Korean pickups right off the bat, which at the time was crazy. Nowadays, not so much. But I think if that legend, that myth is the true story of how that team started, they had such a limited lifespan in the first place.
Yeah. But yet they still existed, though, to pick up Fantasy. So it's like this weird I mean, it wasn't nearly as not action packed. It wasn't nearly as full of a team roster of the last few years, but they still apparently existed. That
Yeah.
story always gets me because I can't believe that's like the whole story. Not that you wouldn't do something out of petty revenge, but that you would do something.
Thank you.
You would choose your petty revenge to be over a non-hello.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, when you've got fuck you money, dude, it doesn't really matter as long as you just say it. Like,
I guess.
however you feel, best makes you feel better.
All right. Well, thank you, Berksane, for the Twitch Prime sub, and Kahar 66 for the 15 months.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's about time we retired the SSS, guys. September did not go so well here on Base Trade TV. Well, actually, no, it went phenomenally. It's, what was the nickname Panic used? Fuck, it was so good. Droptober, where all those subs dropped off, has been hurting and painful. And the September Summit just reminds me of it.
We have another fast evolution chamber from Rogue. This time though, he is playing with speed and lings, but weirdly enough, Solar is trying to get away with something that I think is maybe a bit too greedy. He did not go for speed, and he's getting his third hatchery. So there's no wall, and there's no guarantee that Rogue was going to play into roaches or into two bases. And in this game, he definitely doesn't. He made a ton of lings off of 17 drones, is going to absolutely murder Solar. So Solar puts on an emergency wall off. That's really the best he can do, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
Yeah, it gets here so early.
Gosh.
Okay, he's playing a lot. He's he's made like the Illuminati defense is what we'll call it. Now it's the Mighty Duck defense. Either way, the chambers are falling apart. They don't get a chance to even be canceled, so these kills are racking up the minerals. Solar, GG. GG. Oh, let's do it. GG.
See? Told you guys about Korean ZBZ. It's fun,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Aggressive is definitely the right word. But it was so aggressive and so quick. I feel a little bit guilty because it's almost too soon for ads. But guys, we do have a thing. It's every 2 games or so. So we'll be right back with game 3. Things are tied up 1-1 if you're just tuning in. Well, there's no fancy intro because this got started lickety-split. Folks, you're joining us for Game 3 in this best of 5. Things are tied up 1-1, and spawning here in the bottom left, we've got the blue Zerg Solar.
In the top right, as the red Zerg, he is Rogue.
Dude, this guy in chat, Costadinium, typed fart as I farted.
It's gross. Thank you.
Dude, do you think he commanded that to happen, or was it just coincidence?
Coincidence.
Oh, okay. Then never mind. It's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I don't think it is. But that was an odd coincidence.
So people have been kind of, like, as not too surprising, lamenting, I guess is a good word, about the ZVZ finals. And someone has the audacity to say, like, ZVZ finals are bad, basically. And I can't disagree more. Maybe this one's not quite to your flavor, and that's fine. But look at Montreal, right? Like, ZVZ can be really good, I think, when done correctly. And I don't think this is being done incorrectly. This has already been a lot of fun, even though that last game was kind of abrupt.
I guess it depends on what you mean by correctly. The reason, it's not like people were choosing easier style or something, and that's why roaches became the popular medium. It just was, the pacing of the game was just always directed there. But now we have, either Rogue is really Raynor, another R name, is upsetting the meta of European ZVZ, which was the worst place to go to if you're looking for exciting ZVZ. Because Korean ZVZ has kind of always been like this, whenever we got it. Yeah, there are definitely games with Roach versus Roach, of course, but like it's usually more action-packed than European. But now even European, as you brought up, like Montreal, is kind of getting this shift. And is that because of Raynor? Is he bringing the Korean style back to Europe, or is he just, that's a style he loves playing? Is it the only style that can beat Cyril? That also might be the only reason, but I enjoy ZVZ far more now, even though I think Cyril would maybe have the argument that he still plays the most correct. I actually would love to ask him if he thinks he does, because he doesn't really play a lot of like Ling Upgrade or Muta styles.
A little bit of stutter there, guys, but again, reminder, that's just on, sadly, our end as the observers coming from not Korea. Players don't feel the same lag. Strider 1995, thank you for the 2-month sub. As the Lings disengage from the base, Solar does segment one off to try and go for a scout. That's kind of a clever little move. But Rogue was, trying to catch it. I think he'll get a deny from this. He won't get to confirm the second gas. Not a big deal, but still missing information as the Ling darted up there. This Overlord, though, will see a faster third coming down. There we go. Confirms that.
He scout. That's usually what your third Overlord's seeing. So Solar does not go for that third base, even though, last game he tried to get away with a lot of stuff. It's just as simple as that. He was super greedy. Didn't have a wall, didn't have speed, went for third base. Was just hoping that Rogue was going to go for either a wall or like the same greed. But, of course, it didn't. So now we get into the classical setup, I guess, of speed, third base versus Roach 2 base. But maybe Solar uses both evolution chambers. Maybe he swaps over to speed. Well, I think he would have done so by now. And Rogue is going to have to be wary of that. So that's why he wants to kind of scout and check here. Oh, that was really nice. Solar had a couple of Lings protecting that queen. What? Oh. His Rogue is dedicating a ton of Lings again, even though we got a third base. He's trying to chick Solar. It didn't quite work. It's really close.
It's that Korean baboon ZVZ. Wait, that wasn't a wall!
Whoa,
on the bottom side this whole time! Oh, I don't think either player realized it either. That's the worst part about this. Neither of them realized it.
An evolution chamber? Oh my god. Well, that was amazing.
This is why ZVZ.
I love it. It's great. So Rogue did the same exact thing, except he added the third base. And Solar was not actually being that greedy that time, but he still didn't have enough of units or enough of a wall. He didn't have a wall at all! Ah!
Oh my god, that one Ling. Turn the light bulb on for both players. I went to rewind this. You can see both of them react exactly as soon as that one Ling from Rogue pops in. Like, immediately Rogue's like, wait a minute. And Solar's like, wait a minute. Like,
so good.
Oh. Jesus. All right, thank you. Pi Sahasra. Huge question mark at the end of saying that for the sub. Glad to have you on board. Folks, while we've been a little bit complacent about replays recently because we haven't had a lot we can share, I do want to remind you guys that if you are a subscriber, whether it's brand new or old, that the Discord server we have will open to everybody. You don't have to be a subscriber to join, is where we do the subscriber benefits. So if you do want to claim some of these cool things, I hope you'll get involved in our Discord. You can just type !Discord in the chat there to get in it. But Parasite will be the next game, and this could be the last one. It is now match point for poor Solar. And maybe my wishy-washiness washes once more because Rogue is on top. That was almost like a tongue twister there.
It's just the dumbest way. It's two Ling all-ins. Let's just like get that out of the way. Just two base 17 drone like Ling all-ins. And then that last one is just that there was no wall. Gosh.
The lack of wall, I gotta comment on more, but let's save it for now. Let's get into the map intro. I'll see you guys on Parasite. The fact that somebody, Boptimus Prime, has an emote. Oh, it's Take TV's emote. I was like, but he has like an emote for this wall situation is so perfect. But yeah, it's match point now. He's on his last life. In the bottom right side of the map, we've got the red Zerg Solar.
In the top left was the blue Zerg. He's Jenner's Rogue, up 2-1.
So there's something I want to just go over that I think is so amazing about that moment. That moment of realization, but the moments before it, where both players just assume, like for Rogue attacking, he assumes his Solar is not dumb enough to leave a space in a wall, so he doesn't check for it. And for Solar, he just assumes he has a wall, and with Rogue reacting the way he does, he has no reason to doubt that there's not a wall up. Like, that fight, I think, is funny enough as it is to say, like on a lower league scale, on a not two Koreans at the top of the ladder who are friends and know each other. I think that wall is immediately identified as a giant hole in it. But because there's like that mutual respect that there's no way you're a bad player to make this mistake, Rogue just kind of doesn't look to take advantage of something like that.
Yeah, it really. I think most people, not pros, not GMs, would probably have just clicked behind the wall, like into the natural, and then inevitably some Lings would have gone there. The AI would not have bugged out that much. But I think because you're saying like they both think they're so good, Rogue was specifically microing all of his Lings. First to attack the one Ling, then the other evolution chamber, then the queens.
Yeah,
and
the
then
weak buildings. Yeah.
Hold on here, wait a second. And he might have not even like realized that he might have just been trying to get more surface area on the second evolution chamber, but then was like, hold on. That is just amazing. I don't know if Solar, I feel like Solar just doesn't do the Roach game anymore, and that's exactly what's happening. He starts to speed up because we just say that Rogue won't once again stop at 17 drones, which we know he hasn't, but there's no way for Solar to know for sure unless he got the scout on the drones, which can't happen. Queens are there.
Well, there's a fairly, I'd say, important question out of chat that does dial back to last game a little bit. Can we get to roaches this game? Solar had barely gotten roaches out when he had died. I don't know if it'll go to roaches here. I kind of hope it doesn't, just because it keeps with that Korean style of ZVZ that I enjoy so much. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but I mean, make no mistake, guys, if this does go to Roach Ravager, it doesn't necessarily mean the game's going to look any cleaner than Ling Baneling, because this has been kind of a messy back and forth best of 5 all around.
It definitely has. That first game kind of set the tone, I guess. And you're right. If it goes to roaches, we're inevitably going to see one person go for tunneling claws, and that can cause a lot of weird things. We have a ton of Lings on the way for Solar, who's really going to initiate the can I cancel your third base or can't I trade that usually happens around this time. And while Rogue's trying to get more drones, but also have a safe number of units.
I mean, I really don't know that Rogue is going to be caught so off guard by this, but the fact that he went for the extra drones is greedy, and it does take away from his army, so it's not about wanting, but needing a good Baneling connect. The hatchery finishing up is tough, too, because that's a loss. Oh, it's broodlings, excuse me, that eat the Baneling, so it's not so bad there. That was bad. The Queens could have saved that.
Yeah, not many Banelings behind that either. So this is kind of still, it's still scary, but Solar he wanted the third base. You know, at least he was going to force the same amount of lings from Rogue. Point is, he was droning behind this, so he is getting a lead. We're still at that time where like the third base is like, it wouldn't be saturated anyways, so is the lead substantial? Not quite yet, but as time goes on, it might be. But Rogue went for a lair as soon as that third base died, and I was so surprised that that finished too. That was already so damn low. But he's going for a lair, no Roach Warren, no Evolution Chamber. I think this is for a Spire. And if he can just hold on against the Lings, the Roaches won't be making their way across Parasite anytime soon. So this might just be a very good plan.
Still very dangerous here. Bailey's out of both in such scarce numbers. You don't really want to lose them to something like a Queen or trading out 2 for 2. When you're on the assault like that, he does get an okay connect to the Lings of Solar. Nothing too crazy. But of course, for Solar, he can play a little more complacent with the Lings. He's moving towards Roaches. However, small amounts of Roaches don't fare that well against large amounts of Lings, so Rogue still has a bit of control here. But two players go in very different directions. You got Solar with the Roaches, then you got a Spire coming out of Rogue.
Now, Solar's not just going for Roaches to defend. He's making nothing but Roaches and Lings, and, you know, deal for him. There's a Roach Warren, but there's no Evolution Chamber and no Lair. So those are the typical signs of it being an all-in. Now, I think Rogue was really hoping this wouldn't be the case, that he would just try and defend the Ling counter and then go on with his day. Because even though it's a big map, it's going to take a while for this Roach all-in to hit, it obviously would have been more preferable for him not to build these Spine Crawlers and just simply have them mutas. So emergency Spine Crawlers it is.
It's key that he does get them, though. I feel like a lot of the time we see these spines come down, and it's in panic, and it's too late. And, you know, like, none of them are even complete by the time the Roaches hit. So here, this will work out pretty well for him.
This is...
Ooh.
So Solar knows it's a Spire. Even, like, there's no Roach Warren at the front, no Roaches at all, and then, like, all the Spine Crawlers, of course he knows, even if he didn't get him back and see it. But I think the timing is still not good enough for him. I mean, he's gonna get the third base, I guess. But I don't think he's gonna get any drones, because he'd have to bust down all the Spine Crawlers, which are really well set apart, so the Banelings can't get any efficient damage, sorry. And the mutas are gonna be out. So Rogue gives up a third base again, but maybe his mutas can help control the game, so that's not nearly as bad. Maybe.
I feel like the control you get out of these mutas is really valuable. We see this a lot of time with the players like Bly and others, but ooh, the Banelings trying to trade out so that the Banelings can't explode on the Spine Crawlers, but all these spines are meant to do is buy time for the mutas. They bought time for the mutas. Here they are on the front lines, cleaning this up. It'll take a little bit of time, and yes, Rogue's going to take a little bit of damage, but oh, these transfuses are great. The Spine Crawlers are still holding on. The Banelings don't make it to the mineral lines. And while this was certainly messy, Rogue cleans this up. GG.
Wow.
That's it. Solar gives up after the attack fails.
Yeah, he didn't go for Queens and Spores and Hydras. He had no lair. He just continued all inning, and that almost worked. Rogue.
One point out there. The marbles predicted it. Rogue came first in the marble race. He came first in the tournament.
You know,
Solar beat Keen, who fell off the map and died. It all fell into place.
It's not so much that the marbles were correct as it was that the how to say it. It's the fact that the marbles, like, I would have guessed what the marbles guessed. It's weird.
This is so crazy, dude. I just ran a marble race while you were talking, and I was like, is Zombie Up going to refute this? And the yes ball won.
I didn't refute it, though.
Oh, damn it.
I just said it's so weird, because it feels like, and like, it feels like the marbles could have been, you know, Keen gets first, in which we'd all be like, oh, that's never going to happen. But the way that it went down is exactly as I could have predicted a bracket to go down.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, I'm making jokes about the marbles, right? I wouldn't say this was so predictable, but it's absolutely believable the outcomes we ended up getting on this, right? Just always fun when RNG plays true to the way things play out, I guess. But guys, that's gonna wrap things up. I really wish I could stick around right now. This would be nice to ride like 2,000 viewers off into like some replay casts, but I just really don't have it in me to do this. Like I said, you haven't been hearing me mute and cough this whole time, but I am not in a shape to do this. But I will try my best to be back later tonight for it. So keep an eye on just basically Twitter or Discord for notifications. I have the European qualifiers. We're going to cast them from replays. If you miss it live, it will be up on YouTube eventually, obviously. Lolzl13, thank you for the 2-month resub. So if you miss it, hopefully you'll catch it somewhere, some way. I don't know the results. I don't know who won. I don't even know who checked in for the tournament yet. I only asked theirs to get the round of 8 for me, so I'll probably do about 2 round of 8 games, both of the qualifier games afterwards. It'll be short, it'll be sweet, but it'll be enough so we can see who plays in Ting's season 2. But speaking of, or season 5, but speaking of Ting, and I don't know how well the signups for this is going to go, but we have the Korean qualifiers starting tomorrow. And I think you're joining me for one of the 2, right? But not both?
Correct.
Are you back tomorrow then, or is it the day after?
Tomorrow, but I might regret it.
Oh, okay. Well, we can talk about that if it's too much. But yeah, at the moment we got Bunny, Alive, and a couple others signed up for it. So hopefully we'll get some good showings. Either way, once again, everybody, thank you for joining. Zombie Grub, you want to hit us with your plugs before we go?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at ZG Gaming, Twitch, Zombie Grub, YouTube, Zombie Grub. We'll be playing some Final Fantasy Tactics later today. And then I'll be on Ballistics later tonight. Cast Ballistics.
Cool. That's another Korean StarCraft tournament if you guys want to check that out sometime. For me... yeah, I'm really not in the shape to do things. For me, guys, I don't have a lot of stuff to advertise. We've talked about what we wanted to talk about, so if you just follow the channel or follow me on Twitter, that'd be awesome. And that's, I guess, a good way to wrap things up. I'm looking at who's online right now. Just a quick shout out, because I'm not going to host everybody off this list, but Roddy's streaming right now. Here, Marine's streaming right now. You got Loco, who's not doing StarCraft, but it's Loco. Gotta love him. So if you guys want to check out any of those folks, there's some good StarCraft streamers on, but we're not going to stream StarCraft. We're going to go stream the same person I've been hosting, so you guys can help me, because I think her community is really awesome, and I love doing cross-game promotion. So Sky recently changed her name off of Twitch. It was It's Sky Lol. Now it's just It's Sky, and everybody's been constantly asking her, has been annoying her, why there's no longer LOL in her name. So I don't really have a raid message. I'm just going to send you guys to be a nuisance. Just ask her why there's no LOL in her name when you get to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. I'll see you guys either later today or hopefully later tomorrow. Either way, we got the Korean qualifiers for taking tomorrow. We'll see you there no matter what. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everybody.